boys, Sunday, I will be there. Watch along settings. So I'll be watching you. You can watch me, and we'll see who comes out on top.
Oh, I thought he was going to
We'll
cook
see.
it then. I thought Errol was going to give it big chest. I was like, Sam.
Oh, no, we'll
He
win.
knows better. He knows better than
No, we'll win. We'll win. We'll win. This weekend, we've got this. It's wrapped up. See you later.
Sam.
There you go. There's Sam. That is for you, mate.
Just like our Premier League title chances, they're on the attack now. But
And they crowd it, and then that happens,
and it's in.
then that does beat the best. And again, it's a f***ing Liverpool having all that control, having a moment of madness.
It's funny, isn't it? Because Alisson...
It's not funny.
Alisson, no, yeah. Sal doesn't look happy there, does he? That's a bit fucking aggressive, that, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, I'll do this for you. Yeah, you lift me up.
Yeah, Nunes,
wow. All is not right in Camp Liverpool. And another season goes by.
It's the fucking Quadfather, yo! Look at him! Look at him!
Well done, Sam.
Big up, Sam.
Shout out to Paige.
I had to feel to that fire, didn't I?
You was on edge, mate. For Paige. It's funny. It's not funny. Like,
Yeah, that's the best bit. That is the best bit. You know what? It's funny. It's not funny.
It's really not. Like, it's not. I knew what was happening in the moment. I knew Sam was sat there, just chilling in his bedroom, just screenshot, recording, clipping it. Oh,
Honestly, so
I'm gonna have to
class,
watch
mate.
this back on Monday.
It was class, man. It was class. Listen, big up, people. Almost 200 of you were in already. Make sure you do me a favor and smash the like button straight away. Subscribe to the channel, please. Please hit that subscribe button. It really does mean a lot to me. We're getting very, very close to 20k. So please make sure you're part of this community by hitting subscribe. It's absolutely free. Hit the like button. It's absolutely free. And make sure you come and follow all the panel mans because they do content all the time and it's class. So make sure you do that as well. Big up to Errol. Big up to Dan. Big up to Billy and to Lawless. We've got LB joining and Pete joining soon. So please make sure that you are staying put. We might as well start with yourself, Errol and Lawless, and then we'll go into Arsenal Spurs. And then we'll talk a little bit about the other clubs. Listen, big up to everyone, by the way, for coming over to help from LB. LB, I guess, will be here in a minute because we've got a load of LB raids going on. So big up to him. Absolute legend for bringing everybody over. So welcome. Please make sure that you stay put. Do you know what? Lawless, let's start with you, actually. Let Errol stew a little bit since he's got a little bit of a cook in there by Sam and the clip. Big up, LB.
Yeah.
I've got to say, Lawless, everyone said West Ham were on the beach and it was all done now. Who cares? But they can be difficult to play at your ground, bro. Moyes football can sometimes be a little bit tricky. And I must say, I thought Liverpool were going to win, but they just found a way again, man. Antonio, he seems to be in and around the place at the moment. He seems to, every season, get on the score sheet a few times. And I'm going to ask the panel after you go, before Errol comes in, if they're Team Klopp or Team Salah, because this is absolutely ridiculous, in my opinion, what was happening on the sidelines there. So it'll be fun to get into. Lawless, come on, mate. You deserve to go first, I think, bro.
Yeah, look, do you know what? In the grand scheme of things, it's a great result. But I came away disappointed. I think that was a team that was there for the taking, and we paid them too much respect. I really do. I really think we paid them too much respect. We should, because, you know, we've still got something to play for in terms of Europe. Yeah, okay, it's not in our hands. But as you know, Potts, you just focus on your games, win your games, and then let's see what the other teams do, right? And after losing to Palace last weekend, Liverpool then became a must-win. And yeah, we got a good result. You know what I mean? We showed them up, but like I said, we just let them off too lightly. That team is a mess, and we didn't go for it. So I can't be too happy. I am happy that Errol, you know, he was so confident, and yeah, got thrown back in their face. But yeah, I thought we didn't even play our best. Paqueta didn't have the best game. Yeah, you are a mess right now. You're a mess. Come on.
Errol, you are a mess.
You are a mess right now.
You're a mess.
You're a mess. You're not a Chelsea mess.
Let me
Or a
know.
Man United.
If we're going to do this, let's add the context. So your Lawless is the point you're making. We're a mess right now, or just we're a mess right now. Okay, I can live with that.
Yeah, right now you're a mess.
Can I just ask? Just a show of hands. You don't need to actually give me an actual response. How many of you lads had Liverpool in the top 4 at the start of this season?
I said you challenged for the Premier League, by the way.
You said you challenged for the Premier League. Potter said the top 4. Where did you have us, Lawless? You had the second. Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Yeah. But I just think the way that you've saying.
Let's have a show of hands who thought they were going to be the fucking quad father.
This is the thing, Errol. It's not about you can take context out of it and just go, oh, you're in the top 4, you're third. That's a decent season. It's not a mess. But in the grand scheme of where you were and the way that you've fallen down, this is like an Arsenal capitulation that we saw last season. Do you know what I mean? The teams that you've dropped points against, the teams that you've been knocked out by, you know what I mean, like in Europe and things like that. You know what I mean? It was all in your hands. Yeah. And, you let it slip. And that game, like, I still think, like, if you would have won that, you're still in it. You're still in that title race. You are, like, effectively, points-wise, as much as, like, again, it's not in Arsenal's hands because Man City have got games in hand, but they're still firmly in the race, right? And I think you would have been, not saying you'd have been favourites, but you'd have been in the race. That was the final nail in the coffin that is Liverpool's title challenge, was that game. That was the game. If you win that, you got some belief because of the points, but it's done now, man. And same as it's a weird one because we've both knocked ourselves out of races, with that draw. You've taken yourself out of the title race. We've taken ourselves out of the European race because we ain't getting a point at Man City. So even if we beat Chelsea and Luton, we need the teams which is possible. It's possible for Chelsea and Newcastle to have a bit of a mare. It's possible for Man United to have a bit of a mare, but it's unlikely that much. So, yeah, man, can't be too happy, but bring on next season.
LB, what you saying, bro? Liverpool, like, let's be real. You can't say they've bottled it. You can't say this is like an Arsenal, in my opinion, anyway. But if you want to try and get as close to what Arsenal did last year, Liverpool are trying to trump it, in my opinion. It has been a capitulation. And what I don't get is some of the Liverpool fans that are like, well, what do you expect? We've overachieved. We shouldn't be here. Hang on a minute. You were saying you're going to do the quad not like 4 weeks ago. And now it's like, we shouldn't really be here. We're overachieved. We ain't done what Arsenal did. We've overachieved. But we bottled it last year. We didn't overachieve. Liverpool haven't bottled it. They're overachieving, shouldn't be up there anyway. I'm sorry, man.
Well, listen.
Get out of here, man.
It's slightly different. Okay, so you could say that they bottled the title race, right? But they're not bottled it the same way as you have, because you guys was like fully clear, man, and you did bottle it, yeah. But like at the end of the day, Liverpool have definitely bottled this title race because they've won 1 game in the last 5 Premier League matches. That's just shockingly bad, and it's in the last phase. You know what I mean? It's in the home straight that they've done this. I said it a couple of weeks ago. I said this whole Klopp leaving thing, it obviously galvanized the club, and it made the club like emotional because they wanted to do it for Klopp. They wanted to win this quad, and it got them over the line a lot. Remember the Forest game? I think they got that last minute goal. But when you're running on emotion, it can change like that. It can change like that, and that is what's happened. You know what I mean? And it probably all started at that FA Cup game against United, which they threw away. You know, if you remember that game, they absolutely threw it away. They was in control and threw it away. So, and now I just think, with this Salah thing, this is just the aftermath. This is just the fallout of what's happened in terms of the results. All the players, the manager, they're all aware now that they're not going to win the Europa League because they got knocked out. They got knocked out the FA Cup and they're not going to win the league when they thought they might win a couple of those. So this is just a fallout. Is it surprising? It's probably not surprising, really. At the end of the day, I've got to say, Klopp
LB, hang on a minute. Right. Now, with 9 games left, I was on a show with you and we went through the fixtures and you went, look at Liverpool's fixtures. Facts. And they were the easiest. So now we can't say, oh, it's not a surprise because we thought
No, that's not what I meant. I meant the Salah Klopp thing is not, in my opinion, necessarily a surprise because you know, they've been running on emotion. You know, emotions are high, and whatever happened, no one truly knows because no one can lip read. But like, Klopp is entitled to drop Salah if he doesn't want to play him. I've seen people saying Klopp shouldn't have dropped Salah. I'm sorry, the manager is allowed to do whatever he wants. If Pep Guardiola wants to drop Rodri or Kevin De Bruyne, he's entitled to do it. Now, he'll get cooked. He'll get cooked if he doesn't do it, like he did against Chelsea in the Champions League final. And maybe some Liverpool fans are cooking Klopp because they felt he should have started Salah against West Ham. But he's more than entitled to do that. More than entitled to drop Salah. I just think that it is what it is. You know, Klopp's gone now, and will Salah leave? Who knows? But it's just a crazy ending, man. I got to say, I found it very entertaining, lads. I have found it very entertaining, this ending. But
Shock.
yeah, I'm sorry, bro. Obviously,
Errol, I love the fact you've gone from complete chest to a broken man. Like, what's happened to me in a season, this has happened to you in 4 weeks.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like, am I allowed to respond, Pot? Am I allowed to?
Go on, bro. Go on, bro.
So, I'm not broken by any stretch of the imagination. My frustration is the fact that we went all real talk. You man are mocking it.
Go on.
Nah,
I'm laughing it down, by the way.
I know. We went all season, and I think when we was going under the radar, I think it suited us. If I'm being honest with you, because there was not as much pressure. There was the expectation that City were going to kick into gear. There was the expectation that Arsenal was going to try and, you know, at least compete they was going to go for a title challenge regardless of results and how well he was playing. And then obviously in the turn of the year, Arsenal started to pick up form and started to look like real contenders for it in terms of going into that final stretch and final third of the season. And I think from Liverpool's perspective, I think when we was under the radar, it suited us to a point where we didn't necessarily get the plaudits from the wider football in spaces, which you don't expect to get. Rivalries, Man U, Arsenal, Man City, you know, other teams in and around it are going to want to try and pick up flaws in what you're doing. And then on top of that, I think as well, the fans, myself included, I was the first one to go out there, and it was because not necessarily the emotion of it, but it was more the fact that I felt we was of a level to go deep within the Europa League, because of the team that we've got and the fact that for most of the group stages, you're going to play a bit of a fringe team as opposed to your starting 11. And then eventually you're going to bring back your big hitters for as and when the time is required, the knockouts. Ultimately, losing the amount of players that we lost at various points, we as Liverpool fans were expecting those players to come back and help galvanise us and take us back up to that level where we plateaued a little bit. And as the LB said, we was scraping through on a couple of results, going back to the well. And you think, all right, they've scraped it. Wait till they've got Trent back. Wait till they've got Salah back. Wait till they've got Jota, Szoboszlai, Alisson. And you think, whoa, that's a serious, you know, proposition in terms of you starting 11 looking full strength again. And the reality is, those players coming back have not necessarily delivered on what the players before them had dragged them to that point, and they could only get so far. The other players needed to come back and hit the ground running, which was always asking a lot. My thing is, the last 4 weeks have shown where Liverpool's deficiencies are in terms of wanting to compete for the title, and that is what I'm hoping is where Arsenal have learned from last year, and they've looked at it and thought, boy, even though we could turn around and turn around and said, yeah, however many points you were ahead, you just bottled it. It would have still hurt because you were right up into it, and you were still hoping the results were going to go your way even after you had lost your lead to City. And I think the same can be said of this Liverpool team now. The fact that we've dropped off, and as you're rightly saying, we've capitulated in the manner that we have, I hope that hurts a number of these players to the point where they think, fucking hell, that was a real missed opportunity, but I don't really want to feel that pain again. The only thing I've got is that I hope that they can use that as a motivating factor in the way that Arsenal are using it this season. Has it been good enough? Ultimately, no, because it's all well and good being within touching distance when there's nothing really riding on it. But when it comes to that final stretch, that's when you need your big players to step up for you. And whether that big player is your defensive line, whether that big player is your goalkeeper, whether that big player is a midfield maestro, or whether that big player is your 60, 70 million pound striker or your talisman in Mo Salah, up front, banging in goals and putting them to bed, your chances to bed. And throughout the spine of the team, you can look at individuals that simply haven't carried us over the line in a number of games now. And it's sad because ultimately the person I feel sorry for the most out of all of this is Klopp, because at no point has Klopp not wanted to put the effort in, and no point
players have let him down here, weren't they? Players
yeah,
have let him down.
100%. And that shows how cruel football can be at times. Because as I've said to you from, I think it was, when did you play Wolves match week 1, Dan?
Yeah.
And there was a bit of a dodgy decision from it. Was it a penalty or short?
Yeah.
I remember saying, we can all laugh and we can all banter Manchester United here and now, but unless something changes with these referees sooner rather than later, every single one of us around this panel will be victim of incompetent refereeing decisions. It's become that bad that there's no point even having them as talking points anymore. We expect at least 2-3 games every single match week to be made with shit refereeing and VAR decisions. So have Liverpool fell victim of that over the course of the season? Yes. Is that the reason that Liverpool won't win the Premier League? No, absolutely not. The reason we won't win the Premier League this season is because in the biggest moments, when you need somebody clutch, I'll go back to City last season, Gundogan, City this season, Foden, years before, De Bruyne, Haaland. When you need those players to step up and do the business for you, ultimately, Liverpool have not had those characters show that level of mentality, which is shocking, but it's a wake-up call to the wider club, to the wider fan bases to say, look at what we actually need to do and look where we need to invest in this squad in order to compete with not just Manchester City. We need to compete with Arsenal as well now.
See, this is why I think, and let me bring Dan and Billy in here as well, right? This is why I'm with LB here, because I'm actually Team Klopp here. He dropped Salah, who, by the way, has been stinking out the place. Let's have it right. For the last 2 games in particular, I saw him against Everton, it was embarrassing. The game before that, he was poor. He's dropped him in this game. They're having an argument on the pitch. Now, Salah wants to play, so he's going to have a pop at him. But let's be real. He hasn't exactly made him undroppable, has he, with his performances? So I think personally it's over the top and people are taking it OTT. I think there's no problem between him and Klopp, if I'm honest. Known each other long enough, and apparently Salah wants to stay anyway, right? So I don't know about you, Dan, Billy, where you are with this, but I think that just kind of epitomizes the problems with Liverpool right now. They haven't had any killers. I know Jota's their best killer, Jota Slaughter as they call him. He's had 1 game, scored a goal, back out again, injured. But some of their players, they got to hold L's, man, because Mane's not been replaced with Diaz. And Nunes is not better than Firmino. And they've lost a leader in Henderson, in my opinion, in the middle. Not that I think he's outstanding, but they haven't got one now, in my opinion. I think Alexis McAllister's better, right? I don't think he's got the mentality of Henderson, which has dragged them across the line. And I'm just seeing that now, thinking, yeah, I think they've missed it and haven't replaced them, Dan.
I actually know the reason why it's dropped off so bad. I've done my research, I like to research. It started going bad when they appeared on that dodgy Google phone advert with Errol, I think. I think it's completely cursed them.
Oh dear.
I'm joking, Errol. I'm joking, my guy.
That was, do you know what though? I have said that to someone else the other day because Alisson got injured about 3 weeks after I touched him. Fucking Van Dijk fell off a cliff, and Szoboszlai went out for about 5 weeks. So I did hold a little bit of the blame there, but that would be main.
I've gone through this, mate. I've gone through this with a bigger scale, a much bigger scale, because Ronaldo left the club. But I have to go with LB and Potts here. You can't go against the manager. And it's not like this is a manager who's just come into the job and been there this is his first season. This is a manager that's done what he's done at Liverpool. And I think where Salah's lacking in this battle is no one's going to disagree with Klopp. And I think you have to look at the previous game against Everton. I thought Salah, that's one of his worst performances I've seen.
Oh. He had 45 minutes up against the fucking 60-year-old Ashley Young and didn't make one run at him. He didn't have him running back towards his own goal once in nearly an hour's worth of footy. Like that is in itself a droppable offence.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know, mate. Look, at the end of the day, I could sit here and laugh, and I have laughed, and off air I've laughed at how bad it's been for you guys. But I genuinely think, for my part, I think your players have bottled it massively, and what you said backs my theory up with that. You were going under the radar; everything was okay. The second you guys are now being looked at as challengers on all fronts, all of a sudden the wheels don't come off, they fly off. And we see what's happened the last few weeks. I think, and I don't think I'm alone here, this could spell the start of a really tough period for your club. Really tough. I mean, we could talk about Arne Slot coming in. We could talk about all that, blah, blah, blah. But this is a moment where you need your club united, okay? You need those players united. There are going to be players, regardless of if people are saying it's already been sorted out between Klopp and Salah, there are going to be players that are absolutely fuming with Salah for the way he's disrespected the manager on the sideline there. This doesn't just stop there. So I'd be interested to see what the aftermath of this is, personally.
Yeah, Billy, where you at with it, bro?
I completely agree. I think I'm certainly Team Klopp in terms of that. You can't disrespect the manager, whether he has just come in or whether he's done what Klopp's done at a club. You as a player, I don't think you can disrespect a manager, full stop. And to go against him and for it to be as public is completely out of order, in my opinion. But yeah, I don't know whether Liverpool have.
I've got no problem with them beefing on the touchline. Me personally, it shows that they both still have got that temperament and passion in their own respective way. My issue with Salah, and I don't know if any of you agree, is what Liverpool were able to do while Salah was away, as Dan said, was keep the wheels and the train on the tracks.
Yeah.
Some of those young lads stepped up. The Carabao Cup final. There was other games where we had to play young players. Jane Dance comes in for a couple of times and performs well. Harvey Elliott to perform well, and they was all probably thinking, all we need to do is keep the wheels on the tracks up until Salah comes back. And you know what? We know he's a killer. We know he's our talisman. We was playing and scoring better in better situations without Salah in the team, to a point where. The biggest crutch for Liverpool, sorry, Billy, is if Salah's fit, he starts. Same way with Kelleher. Kelleher's been amazing, but once Alisson's fit, Alisson goes straight back in, whether Kelleher's kept 10 clean sheets or he hasn't. So everybody knew Salah was going to come back in. Everybody then reverts back to the system that suits Salah. The fact that Salah hasn't then delivered and he stopped. First half of the season, he was creative. Second half of the season, he's been selfish, trying to get on the end of things, but he hasn't been putting his chances to bed. And that for me is where I'm like, Klopp, like I said to you a couple of weeks ago about the journalist comment, Klopp doesn't give a flying fuck anymore. Like me, loathe me, lump me, don't care. I'm going to do it my way until I'm gone now. Because I am going, and I don't.
It doesn't have to keep anyone happy, does it?
There's no relationship building or repairing anymore. It can just be cutthroat. And Klopp's decided to drop that loyalty aspect and just be cutthroat. And that to me is Salah's got to look at himself, because he wants to stay. Do you know why he wants to stay, lads?
Go on,
no, he wants to stay because he wants to do one more year in the Champions League. In my mind, that tells me one or two things. Did you really ever take the Europa League seriously this season? And secondly, had we have been in the Champions League this year, irrespective of how it panned out and how far you got in it, would you have jumped for the money this summer? Because you'd have had your last chance saloon already. To me, Salah wanting to just stay on the coattails of Liverpool because we're automatically in the Champions League now isn't a good enough reason to want to keep him as an asset. That's just me.
I could just point something out. Yeah, I don't know if I fully agree on the players have let him down though, because I think we have to have an honest conversation of have the players let him down or are the players just not good enough?
No,
because,
LB.
No, wait a second.
You're saying that they're not good enough. Okay, so if you're not good enough, you don't create an abundance of chances and clear-cut opportunities.
All right, okay,
if you do take your chances and then you are watertight at the back so you can keep defensive control over games, the games that Liverpool have lost, i.e. the Crystal Palaces, the draw with West Ham, the result against Everton, potentially the draw against Jews. Not to say that we should beat you or we have any right to beat you, but there was moments, Diaz had moments in those games to put your game to bed. The moment against Man United in the Cup, if we would have, and again, we put ourselves good enough to be in those opportunities to kill all of those games, but we failed to do so. That's not because we're not good enough.
Well, is it? That's your opinion, though, because I look at someone like Nunes, and I don't think he is good enough. He's clearly not good enough at the top level, finishing-wise. He's clearly not good enough. Luis Diaz is clearly not good enough when he gets in front of goal. He's proved that over the last 2 months. He's probably cost you about 6 points. So my point becomes, are the players letting you down because they're putting him below? Or they're just not good enough? Nunes isn't good enough. He is not. He's never going to be a clinical finisher. Never. He's never going to be. I don't know if you listen to Rooney and Carragher and Daniel Sturridge speaking on Sky about Nunes. And again, I mean, Rooney and Sturridge are saying like he's not clinical. He's not. Billy, he's never going to be clinical. And nor Diaz. Gakpo's not enough.
Let me ask this question to you then, Billy. Billy, how many seasons has Ollie Watkins been at Villa now?
I think this is fourth season.
Fourth season. All right. When he came to Villa, did you think he was ever going to be good enough to get you Champions League footy? Be honest.
You're asking the wrong person here, Errol. You're asking the wrong person here. Come on.
Be real.
Probably not. No. I did think that last season, to be fair.
But Unai Emery has come in. He's changed the way he's played and positioned them up front as opposed to what Gerrard and the instructions Gerrard was giving him. And he's elevated his game now. And 4 years ago, Ollie Watkins was 24 years of age. He's 28 now, isn't he? Or is he 27, 28?
29, I want to say.
All right, nearly 29. So therefore, he's only hitting that stride now where he's rated by most fan bases, unbiased, and say he's one of England's better finishers. He's 29 years of age in the Premier League, been playing in the Premier League for nearly 5-6 years.
What I will say as well with Watkins is he went out of his way to get a finishing coach personally for him as well.
Yeah, but I've also got the stats here, though, Errol. Yeah,
that's what I was doing.
Ollie Watkins' first season in the Premier League for Aston Villa scored more goals that year than Nunes has this year or last year. So he's been finishing. My point is, right, and I know this is going to be difficult, you have to de-emotionalize the situation with Darwin Nunes and just ask yourself the honest question, right, and put emotion to one side, which I know is difficult to do with our own football players, and just ask yourself, is he good enough? I don't think that guy's ever going to be good enough for you. Now, the problem is you're emotionally invested in the play.
I'm not really that emotional about most of this team, though. There's only a couple of players where I'll be like, I'll go to war.
He's not a good enough finisher.
All right, so because we can get to the bottom of this, and I'm not saying that he is going to be. Where is the range that we're expecting him? Are we expecting him to hit Suarez level numbers and Salah level numbers in terms of the elite level? Or are we expecting him to be more like a Torres? Or are we expecting him to be more like a Gabriel Jesus or more like a Lacazette or someone of that ilk? What level would you say he needs to sit in before?
I don't think it's levels. I just think you can clearly see that the guy's not a good finisher. He's clearly not a good finisher. And that's my point. If he's going to be your gunman, the guy who's going to get you the goals, well, that's a problem because he's not a good finisher. I mean, for example, Luton away, he missed one from 2 yards. I can't remember the game where he went round the goalkeeper, he had an open net and hit the post. Like he's done it time and time again. I'm not trying to get onto him for no random reason. I'm just saying, it's the same with Diaz. I don't think Diaz is a good enough finisher. Gakpo, in my opinion,
I think it's Diaz's output that's the most worrying thing. But the thing is, it's such a hard one because you say with Firmino as an example, Firmino was loved because not necessarily the goal output, but it was the way he brought other players into play. He was either the pass before the assist, or he was.
I agree with that, Errol, 100%.
And that's why everybody loved him for what he did. I think there's been times where, again, if you take the emotion out of it, Darwin Nunes has improved his all-round game this season. Has his finishing improved? There's probably question marks and probably enough evidence to say no, his finishing hasn't improved over the last 12 months, but his overall play had. The issue with Darwin over the last, which has become even more highlighted and prominent, is over the last, I'd say, probably since the Man U game, maybe a little bit before that, it's his all-round game that seems to have regressed. He's not causing chaos. No one's used chaos and Darwin in the same sentence for about 3 months nearly now, because he just hasn't really been getting amongst it. He's not.
Do you think, though, Errol, that football fans have gone round in a full circle here for me? Because before a ball was kicked, Liverpool fans were saying they're the best front men in the league. and the best attack that we've seen. City fans were telling me Arsenal won't be up there, but Liverpool will because they score loads of goals. Look at their front five. Now we're saying they're not good enough. Only 12 months later, not even 9 months later.
12 months. The thing is, though, I think I seen it on the Redman stream the other day. Someone tweeted, and again, it might not be right, so you might want to get the stats up. Liverpool have still scored the most goals in Europe this season. So it becomes down to then what I think it might have been Dan saying before, under the radar, no pressure, no problem.
Yeah, but we know that's not what football's about, though. It's about in the moments, in the big games.
Well, that's what I'm about to say. So in the key moments, though, when there has been the pressure, that's where the problem is. So do you need a killer? Do you need someone? Is that something that you can psychologically teach someone, that when it gets to that point in the season and the pressure's on, you need to stay composed, you need to be relaxed, you need to do X, Y, or Z to be able to become a bagsman? I'm not sure you can teach that. Some people have just got that in them. It's mad. Like, if you try to drop Isaac into, Arsenal's attack now or Liverpool's attack, would he still be playing with the confidence and just scoring so freely? It's not as easy to just simply say, yeah, he is, because he's doing it for Newcastle. I think the thing for Liverpool is, more than anything else right now, going forward, we need to address the way in which we go about getting our goals and how we want our end product to be. Because for me, Luis Diaz isn't a creator and he's not a provider of many goals. He's not going to get you great numbers in front of goal either. Do we need to be a bit more rigid and say, right, all we're going to do is try to feed someone like Darwin? And do we have to give you 6 chances every single game for you to score 1? Or do we stick to what we've been doing, which is heavily be reliant on Mohamed Salah to just get us 20 plus goals a season, and then everybody else chipping in and contributing pushes us in and around top 4, and then you've kind of just got to hope that you're going to be close enough in terms of points to push for a title. And that's the $1 million question for how Liverpool need to go moving forward, as far as I'm concerned, because we can't do what we've done this season and just say, I'm guilty of it, so I'll hold my hands up and say, including Jota, we've got 5 lads there that are all just going to score. They're all going to score 10 or more goals. Gakpo's going to score 10. Darwin will score 10. Jota will, and they'll all score plus 50 goals as a unit. So we'll be fine, because clearly it's not been fine. And when you can't split the goals consistently throughout the season, that's when you're going to come unstuck.
What I will say as well about Nunes and having that, and strikers in general having that clinical, that striker's instinct, that killer instinct. Sorry, that comes naturally with players. I don't think you can be an elite striker without having that clinical attribute. And for what it's worth, I don't think Watkins does. I don't think Watkins has that clinical killer instinct. I think someone like Isak probably does, and we've seen your Suarez's over the years and players like that do have your killer instinct. But I don't think you can have that elite striker without having that killer instinct bored into you. I don't think that's something that you can train.
It's interesting when you compare that.
Go on, Potsy.
I was just going to say that I think we always compare to the previous centre forwards. There's only really Bobby Firmino who was not that killer in the box that Liverpool had when they were flying. And that was because of what he did for Salah and Mane, right? But Liverpool over the years have had Torres, have had Suarez, have had Fowler, have had Owen. They've all been killers, absolutely. And Jota as well, to be fair.
Andy Carroll as well. Andy Carroll, of course.
So you look at, I forgot about him. You look at what they might need. And they were talking about him scoring an amount of goals. But I kind of am with LB, because if you had that killer fit the whole time, maybe it is Jota, and you put that killer in the positions of Diaz and Nunes, Liverpool could be 5-6 points clear now. Like, real talk, they could be. And that's what you say, Errol, is like, what do we need then? Maybe you do need someone that's a killer. Jota's always had injuries as well. Let's be real.
Say that again, apart from obviously Salah missing that. Even the thing is, the disappointing thing is, you say that, but the period in where you're like, oh, you need the killer, Salah was missing, and we were still putting the points up, and we were still scoring the goals. As soon as shit went sideways, Salah's back, and out of all of those front 3, you don't expect it to be Diaz. You're hoping Nunes does better, 100%. Yeah. You're hoping he does better in the situations that he gets given, but you're always looking at Salah to say he's a goal at least 1 every 2 games. 1 every 2 games, he's still going to score you a goal. Might not have a 10 out of 10 performance. He might not drop an 8 out of 10 performance, but he's always going to pop up with a goal, and sometimes they're going to be clutch goals. So it's really hard because I don't think in the front three, particularly maybe through the middle anyway, and Salah on the right, I don't think we can afford to have two killers. Whenever Jota's been a killer and Salah, they both play on the wings. If they're going to be killers, they play on the wings because they don't tend to get in each other's way. It hasn't seemed to work having someone directly through the middle where you've got to feed them and give them a wealth of chances, and then still have Salah to be on the end of situations over on the back post. It's a problem now that no longer Jurgen Klopp has to try and figure out and fix.
Errol, can I ask you a question? Out of the five, is it five that we're talking about up top? Yeah. Who is it? Gakpo, Diaz, Nunes, Jota, Salah. Out of those five, who do you expect to be there next season?
I think Gakpo will stay. I do think Nunes will stay. I think Jota will stay. And it's a toss-up between Salah and Diaz for me. If you was asking who I would sell, I'd entertain offers of over 120, 130 million pounds for Mohamed Salah. No, in a heartbeat. From a Saudi club, like, put into context, I don't expect Real Madrid or friggin', PSG to want to throw in that kind of money, but I could expect the Saudi club to want to pay over the odds for them, and I'd entertain something like that.
I think they will. If you get that, you've got to take that. Really, I could
see Diaz potentially going to the continent. I'm talking.
Yeah, his dad's been coming out about that, hasn't he? He wants him in
Spain. Don't know about Germany, but yeah, France or Spain, I could see him going, and I'd entertain offers of anything over 55 million, maybe. I don't know if he's worth that, to be completely honest with you. I like Diaz. I think he's to me, he stinks of a bit of a passion merchant. He's full of passion, but there's not enough end product for me in Diaz, and I've said that for months on this show, and that's the one thing I've wanted to see an improvement this season.
I just with what you're saying though, mate, you're saying that Klopp's on this whole I don't give a fuck now, I'm going. Doesn't that just kill Arne Slot coming in? Like, if he causes all this I don't care, doesn't that kill Arne Slot coming in? Doesn't that
because he's got to come in and put his own swing on it though, Dan, any.
Yeah, I said it's like 4D chess, innit? Like, Klopp dropping the standard now makes Slot look better when he comes in and gets the fucking ball rolling all over again. Do you know what I mean? It can work. It can work on both ways. Got someone there talk about fucking Szoboszlai. He's dropped off. The problem with a lot of our players across the team is the fact that they've all had purple patches this season. McAllister's had a great 2 months. Szoboszlai had a great 2 months. Verge had a great 3 months. Trent had a great 4 months. Like, they've all had moments this season where you look at them and think, wow, they're world class, they're brilliant. But in terms of being consistent and doing the stretch of those 38 games, not enough of them have been able to hold a flame to Declan Rice, Saliba, Rodri. Fucking, I can't really say De Bruyne because he was injured for such a significant period, but the likes of Foden.
I still think, though, Slot coming in, I still think Liverpool next season, I don't expect you to be like down in 8th or something crazy like that. Like, people want to see. I still expect you to be top 4.
So I said to LB's point before, it's not that we're not good enough, because we clearly are good enough. It's just the set of circumstances.
I don't know,
So do you think genuinely then we could fall off a cliff with the team that currently is, if nobody left and we don't go and buy anybody? So I know it's a very hard hypothetical, but with a different manager, you think it could completely fall off because this set of players are not good enough to consistently be in Champions League top 4 every season?
Okay, so first of all, I'd be very, very surprised if someone like big doesn't leave. But the gap between the 4th team and maybe the 7th team, I don't think it's that big.
No.
So you could find yourself being 7th and just be like, how the fuck are we 7th? Like, I don't think the gap's that big. Like Newcastle, for example, they could easily be back in the Champions League next year. They're currently like 6th or something. I just don't think the quality difference between the maybe the 4th and 6th, 7th team is that big of a gap. And I think you could easily find yourself.
I think next year depends on the manager as well.
It'll be 7th to 4th. That's where I put you, because I just think that's where you're going to be. Depends on. It could be a bad start. You might recover, but I put you 7th to 4th.
I actually think 3rd to 7th will be very close next season. Those teams will be coming back. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what we've seen this season.
Errol's either really pissed off or he's frozen.
No, I froze. If you can hear me,
I can hear you, man.
You can hear
Your
me.
face is like absolutely livid, but I can't hear you, man.
Yeah, I sound pissed off. I'm not that pissed off. I'm going
let's
to
move, man,
and then I'm going to try and jump back in if I can, boys.
Yeah, jump back in, man. We'll move to North London derby, Lawless. Arsenal did their best to try and throw it away and give. Am I on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, no, I was just like, oh, fucking hell, I completely forgot about that. We just did a 40-minute fucking.
I know. I was like, we're talking way too long on Liverpool here. I am going to come back to West Ham. So I've got a question for you, but I've got to move it on. So, North London derby yesterday, did the best that we could to try and allow Tottenham to get back into it. I'm hoping, as much as me and you banter, and I can't stand West Ham, you can't stand Arsenal, that at least we agree on one thing: Tottenham fans, right? Crying. I don't get it. I actually do not get it. I met Tobes after the ground yesterday. He was disappointed in the way that they allowed Arsenal to just be 3-0 up without even playing well. And I hold it. We didn't even play that great. We were 3-0 up and we didn't have to be that great. But then they're crying about the referee who gave him a penalty. And they're crying about the referee who awarded a goal, but VAR wrote it off. They're crying about Arsenal buying referees and paying. What the hell is going on here? Tottenham were rubbish. Tottenham was so bad. I don't understand what was good about Tottenham yesterday. For the first 10-15, I thought they looked pretty good playing football. Kulusevski's probably their best player, looked a bit of a threat, but what did they actually do? What did they actually do? Raya had to pass them the ball for him to score. They got given a penalty because Rice kicked, what's his name? Was it Davies? Yeah, Davies. So we've gifted them a penalty, we gifted them a goal, and they're crying about the referee. Am I missing something, Lawless? Or are you with them? What's going on here?
It's funny. I think the reason you hate Spurs fans so much is because you see yourselves in them. Because they're crying about the refs, crying about conspiracies. It's an Arsenal thing. It's a North London thing. Clearly,
North London
you know what I mean. I think that Spurs are finding out that they're not as good as they thought they were. They had a purple patch at the start of the season.
Is Ange as good as they thought he was? That's the question.
That's the question. I mean, look, with Ange, and this is the thing. Ange, you got to give time, right? Because we heard about process with Arteta. He was allowed to finish 8th 2 seasons in a row and then 5th. So Spurs in Ange's first season, he's finishing 5th. You know what I mean? Which is, potentially 4th. So look, you got to give the guy time, but he's not as good as they thought he was at the start of the season when they thought they was going to win the league and challenge you for it and all of that. So they thought they was winning the league, but Deji did. Deji certainly did. So yeah, and it's good to see. We kept hearing when our players come back. Players are back. Their defense. This overhyped defense, this centre-back partnership, supposed to be one of the best in the world of Van der Ven and Romero. You know what I mean? Hey, to ship 3 goals like that at home to your rivals, I think that's an embarrassment. You know what I mean? So, yeah, they're not as good as they thought. I think it's a bit silly for Arsenal fans to come out and accuse them of being crybabies and that. When I see it myself, I see so many Arsenal fans crying about Brighton, including yourself, Potts. Even do you know what? What penalty
against Brighton? What are you talking about?
No, not about penalties. But what we usually do on this show is we say other Arsenal fans, not Potts. It's the others, right? Potts, you're excluded. You're one of the good ones, right? We always say this, but no, you're included in this. Is you were one of the fans? So many crying about Brighton rolling over for Man City. You're crying about it like, oh, it's not fair. Look at them just rolling over for Man City. Everyone wants Man City to win the league. I see it online.
I thought that was a bit tongue-in-cheek, to be honest with you.
I'm telling you,
Lawless doesn't understand tongue-in-cheek. That's the problem.
All the Arsenal fans are just tongue-in-cheek. Bollocks.
No,
I'm not saying all of them. I was talking about Potts.
I was tongue-in-cheek. I was genuinely disappointed with Brighton as well. I thought they were poor. But
they were poor against you.
Yeah, exactly. So I didn't expect
what I'm saying.
To go out there.
That's why I think I heard Keown. Who was it on the Talk Sport? The Arsenal, is it Keown?
Keown, yeah.
And he was on there saying Brighton was so bad against City, and I was just like, Did you not watch Brighton against Arsenal 3 weeks ago when they were equally as bad and
They were
Arsenal were hitting
They
for
were
8?
terrible. But let's not do this. Let's not do this about that game, right? Because that game, let's be real. But Brighton been terrible against Arsenal, against Man City. I'm talking about yesterday how Tottenham can walk away from that. Real talk, thinking, God, we were unlucky there. Like we should have been won that game. I don't get that. I didn't see that. Maybe you guys did. Maybe
Lawless is saying it because that's what Arsenal fans do all the time.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
That wasn't my question.
No, your question was, you started off talking about their fans, Spurs fans, right? We talked about fans. And that's why I come out and said...
And your answer was Arsenal fans do it. That's the answer to it.
Yeah, well, I said you ain't because you're so similar.
Well, what about the Spurs fans that do it as well then? What about them? Forget us. What about the Spurs fans that do it?
Listen, Spurs fans, obviously, they're shell-shocked. They cannot believe the position they're in this season. They don't know how to process it. They don't know how to cope with it. The only way to cope with it is to find reasons outside of their control for why they are where they are, why they're losing the game. Ange has not beat Arsenal, Chelsea, or West Ham this season. He's just not done it. These are games with that added grit, that added heat in those games, right? Where you need your team set up. And he hasn't done it. He hasn't got over the line. And so, there should be question marks on that regard. If he goes to Chelsea now and doesn't get a win, it big question.
Apparently he's going to beat Man City. So it's all good. All the City fans have told me that they're going to drop points at Tottenham. Oh, scary. They are not.
Hang on a minute. All right, then you've got the same manager for you. You're going to Old Trafford, one of the worst teams in the division, and you guys are going, oh, scary. It's Old Trafford.
Not, we lose that game. We don't deserve to win the league. If you lose to that Spurs side, you don't deserve to win it either. Trust me.
Man United are one of the jammiest, luckiest teams in the league, right? And that is the problem you face going to Old Trafford.
What do you reckon we should do for shopping this weekend, Danielle? Because this is just boring. What do you reckon? I'm thinking of chicken thighs.
It's true.
I don't know. Sorry, Lawless. What were you talking about, mate? Sorry.
Jam. We're talking about jam. Put that on the list. Put that on the list. Some jam.
Hey, I tell you what. Then you put salt on the list. Then.
Wait, Potts, right? Potts.
What are you bringing me in on this?
No, what do you mean? LB brought you into it. LB brought you into it.
Lawless brought everybody into this apart from Spurs. When I asked him, what about Spurs? He's like, well, you and you, and you. Hang on a minute.
I'm surprised I've not been mentioned yet.
Yeah. Oh, actually, I can't say what I normally say. I get trademarked.
They can't cope with where they are. That's what I said. I said they can't. They don't know how to deal with it because they thought they were in a title challenge. They thought they were potentially winning the league. Not all of them, but a good portion of them. So that's why they're in this situation. Of course, like they all said, we're beating Arsenal when you come in. It was nailed on. We're beating Arsenal. And the fact that it didn't happen and they lost at their own ground, they don't have to cope with it. Now, doesn't mean that 3-2 was a fair result. You know what I mean? On the balance of things, yeah, some decisions did go against them. Some decisions went for them. You know what I mean? The offside, contentious. And this is what I don't like about offside now. VAR is all good. Some people say if it's offside, it's offside. I hate the millimeters things for offside.
You're going to get that with everything, though. No matter how close or how much lead.
Will the semi-automation stop that next season, though?
Didn't they widen it, though, to make it like...
They were supposed to, but it didn't... That's what we heard at the start of the season.
They shortened it against Coventry for us.
Next year, they're bringing new technology in, which, let's be real,
new technology
anyway. They had to bring that in, first of all, in my opinion. If you're going to bring VAR in, then at least do it all. Don't have someone manually drawing, like, it's just ridiculous, man.
It's mislabeled, though, like... If you deep it, it's meant to be for clear and obvious. That was the whole premise of VAR. It's got to be a clear and obvious mistake by the on-field officials for you to justify reversing or changing any of the decisions. The offsides, where it comes under the scrutiny for me, is if the lino had missed it and it had been fractional, to the naked eye, is that really clear and obvious? It's only clear and obvious because you're scrutinizing it with 5 different cameras under a microscopic lens to suggest that my man's fucking fingernail or toenail or whatever it was is now actually offside. So it's almost like it's cancelling each other out by. I understand the need for wanting to get the correct decisions, even if you have to use video technology to get them. But it should be the video assistant making that call based on we want to get the right decision, as opposed to underneath the premise of we're trying to avoid it not being clear and obvious. Because I think that whole premise of clear and obvious has been lost by the wayside now. I think that's what's really... I think
it was never there, Errol.
It's not. Well, I think that's what's really pissing off the fans, though, LB, let's be honest.
Yeah, but it was never there. That's what they said. They said it was only be clear and obvious errors, and then they just abandoned it on match day 1. They were just like, "Yeah, we're just going to completely change it." They started re-refereeing football matches.
Take 5 to 10 minutes to go over a decision.
I'd scrap it. Personally, if it was me, I'd keep goal line technology. I'd get this AI technology in for the offsides next year. And if it was me, I'd scrap the AI. I think it's a whole load of nonsense. I think the game was well better before it.
And I asked this to the lads the other day. Yeah, like before VAR, I can't remember how many seasons it's been in now. But let's be honest. How many games get played in an actual calendar year between all of the teams? I can only really recall, and it's probably not because my memory's the best, there was probably only about 4 incidences in their entire season, given every single team, where you thought, whoa, when you watch it back on a replay, oh, how's the ref missed that? Or how's the linesman missed that? That was a bad call. But there'd be a handful, 5 at max, through the entire season, where you'd think, they probably, if they would have had a little bit of assistance there, they'd have probably wanted to change their mind on that. All of a sudden now, VAR is a common theme in every single
game, every single game.
I'd love it to be like cricket or tennis, where like the teams get 2
free strikes.
Yeah. I don't want to see that, man. I don't want to see all that kind of stuff.
Anyway, this is gonna take an hour if we carry on talking about VAR. We'll have a whole podcast on that. So basically, no one watched the North London derby. Arsenal should stop crying, and VAR should be skinned. Right, brilliant. That's brilliant so far on Arsenal and Spurs.
What I will say on
anyone watch
Spurs
the
fans,
game?
what I will say on Spurs fans quickly is if they get to a point where they're still in the top 4 race and they want to be turned over by Man City to stop Arsenal winning the league, it's a complete and utter embarrassment.
But that's you say that,
and this is the
mentality.
You
think Spurs his mouth shut because he knew Arsenal fans would be the same. Potts, you're telling me
you think Spurs are still in the race
for top 4?
Of course, they're still in the race.
Of course they are. Until it's look, I look at the top 4 race now at the minute as we're 1 point behind. We're 1 point ahead of them. Sorry, because they've got Sheffield United and Burnley, and they're 6 points instantly, in my opinion. So same games played, we're 1 point ahead of them, and it's a lottery. They've obviously got the harder fixtures, but until it's mathematically done, I'm not saying a thing.
Billy, come on.
Until it's mathematically this time
down on your head now. Come on.
This time next week, I'm hopeful that this time next week it'll all be done. We'll win against Brighton. Spurs will lose against Chelsea and Liverpool, and it'll all be done. That's what I'm hopeful of, obviously.
Billy, you're there.
But until it's mathematically done, it's never there. It's never.
Well, by the time we play him, it will be done. By the time we play
I hope so.
The only reason they thought they were getting back into it is because they gave their last ounce of effort because it was a North London derby. That was the only reason you saw any sign of comeback. I've got no doubts that they're going to probably end up getting trounced by Chelsea. Is it Thursday they play Chelsea?
Thursday, yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Chelsea wipe the floor with them. Like they're done.
Well, I hope so. I hope so.
They had their whole hopes. You got to think Spurs had their whole hopes set on no European football. We're going for Champions League, and now they've let it slip. Mentality's gone.
Like, that was their biggest game. That was their biggest game of their season, man. Or I was never ever told by Spurs fans, "We want this win so we get top 4." It was, "We want this win so we knock you out." They couldn't give a damn. They honestly could not give a damn where they finished. Their fans have always been a joke.
That mentality of.
Well, that's why they don't win anything, Billy.
Completely. It's small club mentality, isn't it?
Yeah. You need it to be done.
They come out of the ground on a Saturday afternoon, and the first thing they look at is the Arsenal score. It seems.
Yeah, it's mad. It is mad. But let me ask a question, right, to the panel, right? Last on Arsenal. This is not my opinion. This is a question. If I'm playing devil's avocado, right? Kai Havertz is going to be a flop. Kai Havertz ain't a bad signing anymore. Kai Havertz has been a really good signing for Arsenal. And dare I say it, Kai Havertz has been one of the signings of the season.
Oh,
What do we
fuck
think
off.
of that statement? What do we think of that statement?
Fuck yourself.
What do we think of that statement?
What the fuck is that?
What do we think of that statement?
I'm surprised. I'm surprised.
Oh.
What do you mean, Errol?
The Arsenal fans are now starting to give him those flowers. I thought he's always seen Arsenal fans are the biggest flip flops. Do you know what I mean? Like if it goes bad for 3 games, you want Arteta gone and he's not going to be good enough and he's never going to do it. And then it goes good for 3 games and it's all we're in a race, or we could win the Champions League, or we could have combined 11s with fucking Real Madrid. Like there's such a hard fan base to really gauge where the median is in anything. And one thing I said to you about Kai Havertz, there's a player in there. There's definitely a player in there. And I think the conversation we had about Nunes before is has he got that killer in him? And you could look, Billy said it, I don't think he can coach that. I think Kai Havertz has to a degree. And
where is he out of those 4 things, Errol?
Out of the 4 things, I think he's
a very good sign.
I think he's been a very good sign. I think it's been an astute piece of business for you. Like I said from the off, he is someone I would have liked to have tried to replace Roberto Firmino because of what he can do in that false 9 position. Did I think Arteta would be able to bring that out of him? That was the question mark. Arteta has chipped away at it, and he's making a player fit in the system that Arsenal need right now. And let's be honest, you could have spent money elsewhere and got yourselves an absolute bagsman and a killer. But that's not to say that the rest of the team would have flourished in the same way that you have when you have got someone like Kai. So I've been impressed by him, but it's not to say that his performances have surprised me. What surprised me is the Arsenal fan base now at the 11th hour sitting there licking their lips like
Errol. They've gone from shite Havertz to Cobra Kai Havertz.
This is the thing. He's such a good signing that they all want him to be replaced as a first choice player next season. None of them think that Kai Havertz should be starting for them next season. That's how good of a signing he is. Not a single Arsenal fan I've spoke to, and including Potts, sees him as being in that starting 11 next season.
You can say that someone's been a good signing and still want an upgrade on them, though, can't you?
But you said he's a very good sign. He's a very good.
Yeah,
sign.
he has for the goal contributions that he's made, and in the important moments that he's made them as well. In hindsight, you have to say that he's been a very good signing for them. But there's still an upgrade on him
in the second half of the season. That's what he didn't have last season, Lawless. In the second half.
I agree with you there.
But to say you signed someone for £65 million, yeah. What's that? You're spending, that's a 1-season deal, yeah? You're signing this 1-season player for 65 mil. Like, I'm looking at him.
Football's about having a squad, though.
Yeah, it's about having a squad. So you're telling me
he can't do it, can he? Lawless literally cannot do it. He cannot do it. He's trying
so wait,
so
we're like 65
is he a flop
then?
Lawless, is he a flop then?
No, I'm not saying he's a flop, but like Errol and Billy are just wanking themselves into oblivion over this guy as if he's the fucking messiah. It's fucking madness. Like,
how have you come to that conclusion?
I know. What have you been listening to?
It's insanity. You're sitting there. He's a killer. He's a bagsman. Like, all right, yeah, he scored some goals this season, but he's not the fucking man of the future. He's not their guy. He's not the guy, and he's never going to be the guy. 65 mil.
That's why he's been a very good signing and not one of the signings of the season.
So if Arsenal can splash 65 mil on bench players, let's not talk about Man City buying the league. Let's not talk about Chelsea buying 8th. Yeah, because Arsenal are sitting here splashing 65 mil on just bench fodder. Do you know what I mean?
He's not been bench fodder though, because he's been starting games and he's been performing.
Yeah, but he's intended to be bench fodder though.
He's not intended to be bench fodder. That's all right. But like,
of course he is.
If you buy a player, Lawless, if you buy a player, and as Dan said, right, next season he might not be a guaranteed starter, but you've got that level of player that can come off the bench. Do you not feel that your team and squad as a whole has improved? Do you not think it's about? And I think Dan United would probably want this. Getting players in your starting 11 for next season that push some of your players that are in your current 11 this season back onto the bench.
Hard, mate. It's not going to be hard. You can put the under 9s in our squad.
No, but I think the bigger point is that you always want that constant push for places. You do want.
Can we flip it though? Can we flip it though? Because this is Arteta having a full season with him. He brought him in, was shifting him, trying to make it. Now he's made it work. With a pre-season and another season, could he not do something with this player?
I personally, I think looking at him, I actually point the fingers at Chelsea more than anything. He came from Bayer Leverkusen as a really good player, and I actually looking back at him now and looking what he's been doing for Arsenal as the season's gone on. For me, it looks like the quality was coached out of him at Chelsea. Like literally just being put from pillar to post in a team that was progressively getting bad year upon year.
They won the Champions League. They won the Champions League.
Yeah, I know they won the Champions League, but nobody ever thought they were going to do it. They never put out amazing quality to get there. They won it, and respect has to be given for them to win that. But for me, I'm looking at Kai Havertz in isolation. I'm looking at him now, and I'm thinking he was all the quality was coached out of him. And within half a season, with what Dan's just said, Arteta's got hold of him, been able to coach him like he's been coaching the other players, and now the ability is starting to come back in. And I do think, I'm not saying he's going to be an amazing sign, he's going to be their number one guy, he's going to be the guy like you're referring to, Lawless. I don't think he's going to be that guy. But what I think he is, I think he's going to be a really useful player for Arsenal, and he's already proven it this season. I think, as Dan just said, Dan United, another pre-season under his belt, and that confidence coming back to him where he knows where he is now, he knows what's expected of him, he knows what he's capable of, that can only bring the best out of him for me. I think the finger's not been pointed at Chelsea enough.
No, Pots, if he's winning the league, is it money well spent?
Absolutely. Because he's contributed to us winning the league. Because actually, you look at the goals, the contribution of this guy. The first half of the season, he was pretty poor. Playing him in midfield for me did no favours whatsoever. I said, get him up the pitch. Let's see what happens. We started to use him up the pitch off the bench. And then we started to see a little bit more of a, not the same, but like an Olivier Giroud type different dimension where he could come off and give us something a little bit different. Then he got himself into the team ahead of Jesus, and I think we've been better. I think he's been really good at number 9. I thought he was our best player.
And Jesus was the man last season, wasn't he? Jesus was the.
Well, he weren't really. He got injured for 3 months and only just got double figures, so he weren't really the man. That was the thing.
First season when you was hyping him, right? He was hyped. He was very much.
To start with, we were, but then he got injured, didn't he?
Yeah, but that's not his fault, like obviously. But I mean, on the pitch with his performances, you know what I mean? He was hyped.
I think Havertz actually offers us a lot more, man. I can't lie.
I think there's a common assumption that a lot of football fans make is, okay, play and listen, I've seen this enough times to say it is the opposite. Is a player comes in their first season, reaches above expectations, and then that's it. Now imagine next season when they've settled into the team, had another pre-season, we've got quality. Imagine how good they can be. And it don't always work out like that, obviously. But if it does, if he's as good as Errol says, surely he's not going to be content with being bench player. Do you know what I mean? He's going to be looking for moves elsewhere. And then it's okay.
Why does it have to be labelled bench player, though? Why?
Because he's fucking on the bench. Why have we got to create a flowery just to make it better for you? What's a nice term? Give us a nice name that doesn't sound as bad as bench player.
Yeah, squad player, rotation player. Look,
does that make you feel better?
But
it's a if he sits on a fucking bench, he's a bench player.
But what's Alvarez at City? Because he's a quality player, but he's not a starter. Is he just a bench player? He's not going to want to be a bench player
at Man City. He's a bench player at Man City. And,
I don't know. I think to call
James
Havertz
didn't want to be a bench player at Man City, did he? Zinchenko didn't want to be a bench player at Man City. Like lots of Man City players have left Man City, not because Man City is not good enough, because they're not content with warming a bench. Because they feel that
Havertz is still going to have a contribution to play to the season, isn't he? He's not saying this is you on the bench for the rest of the season. If who we bring in gets
we've seen it with Ramsdale. Have we not seen it with Ramsdale? Did they not sign? Oh yeah, like you're going to be the cup keeper.
But that's what happens when you go to next level. You either go right, I'm part of this squad, or nah, I want to go and play first team I want to be the top dog at a Palace or a West Ham. Or
I don't think it's necessarily like. And look, I'm not even dissing ourselves, but I don't think this necessarily has to be that drop.
Oh, wait with that one.
Yeah, I know. No, but like, you know what I mean? He could look at it and go, well, look, this team who is playing Champions League in another, whether it's in another country or what, need this position. Like I can go and fit in.
You could do a Xhaka, is what you're saying.
He might do that in a couple of years.
Xhaka probably thought you're going to go and buy Rice in the summer. That means I'm not going to be the starter that I was last season. I'll probably be on the bench.
Errol, Xhaka has been here 7 years, bro.
I know
7
he
years.
I know he had.
But
on the last stream reckons Rice is going because we won't. If we don't win something soon, then Rice will be going.
Okay, is Rice set for life?
Kai Havertz now is leaving as well. Like, what is going on?
Wait, you're telling me, Potts? I want you to come on in. Back your chat. So Rice, regardless, you win no trophies. He's Arsenal for life. Yeah, no trophies.
No, not for life. But you said he'd be going if we don't win in the next 2 years. He'd be going. So he just comes to the club.
Yeah, I know, but how long? Okay, so how long do you give it? Because what is it? Three seasons. I'm saying 3 seasons. You're not winning nothing. If your motivation to move to a club was to win stuff, and in 3 years you're not seeing that, then what do you do? Do you just go right?
Kai Havertz next season will be off because he'll be on the bench.
No, I'm not saying he's going to leave next season. Obviously, look, he's not going to sit there.
Has he been a good signing, Lawless? Has he been a good signing? Has he been a good
signing? But I think he's overpriced. I think he's overpriced. I think 65. I don't think he's proved that he's a 65 million man.
If you had a choice, who like Ollie Watkins signs for you in the summer, right? He's your main man. Who are you keeping out of
Billy?
Who are you keeping out of Havertz and Jesus? Who are you keeping out of those two?
Oh, that's a really good question, actually. That's a really good question. Okay, I'll tell you why I'll I'll select who I'm going to select before everyone goes crazy, right? Because
he's getting rid of Havertz, isn't he?
Gabriel Jesus.
He's getting rid of Jesus, I can tell. He's already getting rid of Jesus. He's seen enough.
Gabriel Jesus has proven to me that he's a good footballer, right? But what he has proven to me is he gets injured a hell of a lot and he's wasteful in front of goal. So at the moment, I'm probably going to pick Kai, you know.
And he offers something different.
Yeah, that's which is mad because I never thought I'd say it.
This is why I asked the question, because I knew the answer that you were going to give.
Well, this guy has done some epic rants on Havertz this season. Nah, you're flip-flop, man.
Does that mean it's the right answer, though? Because you said you knew I'd say it. Is that what you do as well, then? Is that what you're saying?
From what I've seen of both players, I'd probably go the same.
It's good because
let us know in the chat. In the chat, let us know. Are you keeping Jesus or Havertz in the summer?
Enough Arsenal fans in the chat.
Because Jesus,
let us know. Let us know.
Jesus and Zinchenko were sold by Man City because they needed upgrades. My mum doesn't like Havertz. That's why. for me, Zinchenko.
No, bring that comment up. Bring that comment up.
Civil war.
You need to bring that comment up. Yeah. Don't hide from it. You tell him, Donna.
Civil war. Love it.
I feel like Jesus quality footballer. I think sometimes he gets disrespected, but you can't deny it. This season, Havertz has been better, and right now, I think offers more. So that's why I go with it.
That's because Jesus is a winger, as I told Arsenal fans when he signed him. So
there you go. I mean, let's be real. I would keep them both. I'd say that, but the question was not that. The question was you could only keep one. So obviously,
and the thing about it is that if you're going to prioritize, Ollie Watkins next season in Kai Havertz, then off the back of that, Jesus is barely going to play any football. So is he then going to ask to leave? Is he going to ask to leave as the next one? Instead of, as Lawless said, Kai Havertz.
Well, it could be, man. Errol, big up, man. I know you got to shoot. Thanks for staying on, brother. And well done for taking the cooking, bro. In a bit, man.
See you, buddy.
Oh, man. Listen, people, there's
it's different in City, isn't it? Because if you're on the bench at City, at least you're guaranteed to win trophies. It's a different vibe, obviously.
Well, everyone at Man City is this. I mean, you're in the right place. You're winning.
You can chill on the bench and just collect trophies. Do you know what I mean?
Like you could be what was it? The keeper's name? Scott Carson, Richard Wright and Scott Carson used to do that, but you're guaranteed to win. Listen, people, there's 900 of you in the chat. Some of you are probably gone over to Big Six now. I don't blame you. Fair play to you, but there's still 800 of you in here. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. Make sure you're following all of these people and all of their content as well. LB, let's come to you quickly, brother. Chris Wood's a City fan. It seems he's missing the goal on purpose. It's a fix. It's a disgrace. It's corruption. No, it was poor, man. I've got to say it was poor, and I'm actually a fan of Chris Wood. I didn't see the game, bro. I only saw the highlights. I wasn't impressed with Man City, bro. I know you got the job done. It didn't have to be, but does that worry you at all, or you not care? You just like get the job done.
In fact, it makes it sweeter. It makes it sweeter because all the Arsenal fans would have been watching that game, seeing how shocking we were. One of the worst performances we put in our season, and we still won. So actually, I want us to play that bad every game. Not that bad. I actually said before the games, I don't care how we play, just win. And I was like, after 10 minutes, I was like, what are we doing? What are we doing, man? Because it was shocking.
Was it bad? Yeah, I only saw the goals, man.
Bro, we should have been like 2 or 3 down at halftime. No cap, man. Wow. We should have been like 2 or 3-0 down. Like we was lucky. But when you're going for titles, you need a little bit of luck, man. And we defo got that. We can't play that. The good news is we played that out and we won. Hopefully, like the players will get together this week and be like, right, we cannot play like that again. Because if we play like that again, you know what I mean? Like, you're not going to get away with it. So, as Eduardo says in the chat, we ride our luck, man, 100%. But the good news is, Haaland come off the bench and looked the best he's looked in.
He looked good.
3-4 months. He just looked like he come on and his movement, he was quick, he was agile, his goal was superb. Absolutely superb. You could see the confidence in him. And I said this to my guys on the watch along. I said, about 2-3 weeks ago, we played Palace, right? Kevin De Bruyne put Haaland through on goal 1v1. And when he went 1-3-1, in the watch along, I was like, he's not scoring. He's not going to score. He's not going to score. He didn't. He just kicked it straight. I didn't have confidence in him. When he got the ball the other day, yesterday for that finish, I was like, the guy's scoring and he just slotted it. But I could tell like the guy was up for it and like he looked more confident. So yeah, we've got all our players are fit, bar Edison, but Ortega's absolutely no drop off. He's absolutely amazing. So I'm chilling, man. 4 games to go. Like if you would have offered me at the start of the season, 4 games, win 4 games, you win a title, I'm taking it. So let's see. It's up to us now. I don't even watch Arsenal games. Huh?
You're winning them all. You're not dropping.
Well, you'd like to think so. I mean, if we drop
points, I think so. I've said so. I think so. But are you saying so?
Who you got? Who's the 4?
Wolves at home, Fulham away, Spurs away, West Ham at home.
3 points guaranteed against us. That's 3 points. 100%.
Nice. West Ham, Manchester City. We will be
there.
Obviously,
West Ham and Spurs ain't going to do us no favors, but I'm praying on Fulham, man. Come on.
Well, listen. They've all got their own.
That's all I've got.
They're chilling.
They've all got their own pros and cons. For Wolves, we lost against Wolves away, but their away form isn't very good. However, Neto's back and Cunha's back, and they play good football. But we're at home and we've had a week off, so we'll be fully fresh. However, you play first again, and I'm telling you, playing first is massively better. It's so much beneficial playing first, man, because the stress is mad on in the second game. But if we can get through Wolves, I think we'll do it then, because Fulham, we play first, and then you play United, so we put the pressure on you, and then we play Tottenham in the midweek game, which is a catch-up game, which is just we got to win it anyway. And if we manage to get to the last game of the season, then we've been there plenty of times. I expect us to win. So
West Ham will lose by at least 3 because they've given up. West Ham have finished.
We'll see. We'll just. A lot of City fans, we're just taking it one game at a time. That's the best way. Take it one game at a time. Don't get ahead of yourself. Focus on Wolves.
What's your hardest one then? Go on. What's your hardest one?
Spurs, surely.
Spurs is probably the hardest in terms of we've never won there in the Prem. We've never scored a goal there in the Prem, but they play a completely different way to how they've played in the past. In the past, when we've gone there under Mourinho and Conte, they've sat back, been really deep, made it difficult for us, and then just hit us with a mad pace. Well, as you've seen, they don't do that no more. They pressure, they try and play football, and if they do that, usually we're quite successful against teams that do that. So, I don't know, man.
Win a set piece, bro. Win a set piece is like a penalty, honestly.
Honestly, I think Wolves is the most difficult one, because I tell you why, because they're a good team on the day. They've got all the players back, and it's the final game where you play first, and the pressure will be back on again. We get through Wolves, I think we're going to do it, man. But listen,
is Ederson out, LB, or was it just precaution?
Nah, he's going to be out now. He could be out for the rest of the season. But Ortega, mate, he's
yeah.
I'm telling you, bro. He'd walk into most people's teams.
He's a quality backup, man. Quality backup goalkeeper.
You know, with Haaland, do you not think that he was playing injured? Is the reason why?
That's a lot of people have said that, because he was fine before the injury, and then he come back from the injury and just wasn't look the same. And it's interesting, Pete, that he's had a week off. And then he come back in and then he looks really good again. So Who knows, man? But he looked good, man. He looked good against Forest when he come on.
Because the amount of times that he's come off, like he's been subbed at half time or he's been subbed like partway through a game, like he just hasn't looked right. His movement hasn't been there. He's running. And you're right. Just watching him, like he looked hungry. He looked like he was fully fit. And maybe that additional rest is what's given him the chance to get fully fit. I just looked at him and I just didn't think he was fit for whatever reason.
I don't think he was like fully fit. I think there was he was low on confidence, 100%. His confidence has taken a dip, and I don't think he was fully fit. Whether he's fully fit now, I don't know, but he looked the best in terms of the way he was moving on the pitch. That's the best he's looked since before his injury.
Low on confidence, not looking fit, still top scorer in the Premier League.
Yeah, which is why all the talk about Haaland is literally just like clickbait shit. You know what I mean? Like at the end of the day, he still scored 32 goals and 6 assists this season. Like he's probably, don't put it past him if he could still get 40 goals this season on competitions in a season that he's not played particularly well. And by the way, missed 2 months. So
he does need to prove his all-round game though. You got to admit that.
I don't. Maybe, but I don't think he's ever going to have an all-round game that's going to be like anywhere good enough, like compared to Kane. I just think he just needs to keep on focusing on, just keep on doing what you're doing. People always try to make players the perfect player. The guy's scoring 40, 50 goals a year. I'm like,
I'm with you. I don't
care. He's hold-up player. I don't care about dropping deep. If the guy's scoring me 50 goals, I don't care what he's doing on the halfway line.
I totally agree. I can't believe it's a debate. Like when people say to me, "Do you think Haaland's not that good? Do you think he's level 2 level?" Or something? I'm just like, the guy's banging them in, man. I couldn't give a damn like how good he is.
His job's to score goals.
His job's to score goals, man, and he puts them in. He does that very well. So
that.
I don't get it, man. I've never understood it. He's going to be the top scorer again, in my opinion. So I don't know why it's a discussion, in my opinion, man. But I'm just praying that somebody allows you to drop points. I can't see it. I'm praying that it's Fulham and Spurs. It ain't going to be West Ham. Could David Moyes bow out? Could he bow out? Please, could he bow out and say we'll have a draw?
No
Yeah.
chance.
Please.
If he does that,
please.
Lawless, you want
Lawless.
absolutely.
I'll kiss you, mate.
Calvin Phillips. Is it Calvin Phillips allowed to play in that match?
No, he'll be loan system.
It's a Champions League that's allowed, isn't it?
That would be. I don't think so. We're never going to see that clown again in a West Ham shirt.
Well, we'll see, man. Where he's going to go back at Leeds at this rate, man. But
yeah,
I don't know. Tottenham, if Tottenham or West Ham do us a favour, it will be funny.
No. It'll be made up. Like if Spurs do take points of a City and cause Arsenal to win the league,
biggest Spursy ever.
Never ever live it down.
It would be the Spursiest of all Spursiest, wouldn't it? It really would.
Yeah.
And by the way, all these people calling out these Spurs fans to say Spurs fans saying they want Spurs to lose. Like at the end of the day, if Spurs win and they finish 5th, or they lose and finish 5th, why are people like calling these Spurs fans out for saying they'd rather lose? Because otherwise, if they do take points off it, they're going to get it in the neck from Arsenal fans. Are Arsenal fans?
I get that. I get that. I do get that.
Thank you, mate. No.
If they're still in contention for it, and they'd rather throw it away so Arsenal don't win the league, then it's a complete embarrassment. If 4th is wrapped up and they still take points off them, then it's embarrassing from the players' perspective.
Would you want to see Arsenal get Champions League if it meant Spurs winning the league pots, or would you have a season out of the Champions League?
I mean,
if you
for
gifted
Arsenal,
it to Spurs,
it's different because we were in the Champions League most of the time. Spurs is their dream; it's a trophy for them, and it top 4.
What do you mean you're in it most of the time?
Most of the time. This is your first season back.
Oh, come on, man. Yeah, we've had a break. And I'm talking about the Champions League's been out in 1995. Christ alive. It's not like we hardly been in there. Like Tottenham have been in there about 5 times, haven't they?
Sam has barely seen Arsenal play Champions League football in his life.
Sam's 20. Exactly.
Yeah, exactly. So you can't just speak for your. I'm just saying.
Spurs have been to the same amount of Champions League.
It'd be hard for me to see it, but I'd always want Arsenal to win, man. But it would be hard for me to see it. It would.
So you would root for Arsenal. So you would be like.
I'd always root for Arsenal, but
you've got to want what's best for your club.
Your club, exactly. You've got to, man. You've got
to,
mate,
surely.
But that trophy is forever. Champions League.
Z in the chat. What the hell are you saying? You want Man City to break our record and get 4 over Arsenal winning the league? Z.
Also, I've got a way to sell this. Yeah, if Spurs finish 5th, they go into the Europa League, which means they've got a better chance of winning it and therefore winning a trophy.
Yes, there you go. That's best. They
I'm just-
never win no Champions
So you
League.
say what's best for Spurs? I would argue getting knocked out in the group stage or the last 16 of the Champions League or winning the Europa League.
What's best?
Lawless
I
had
think-
memories last year in the Conference League, which will last him a lifetime, and
Yeah.
no one can
LB.
erase from his mind.
LB,
Yeah,
did you
getting
just
knocked
say,
out in the group stage in the Champions League, no one's going to remember
Yeah.
that.
Pete
LB, did
would
you
have had a
just
much
say-
better time if he finished in the Conference or the Europa League. Like he would have been much happier in the long run.
LB, did you just say Spurs and trophies?
I take
Spurs
it.
don't do
I'll
trophies,
take
man.
conference this season. I'll take conference this season.
Yeah,
Like,
but Dan, I'm trying to sell it. I'm trying to sell it.
no, I would. I take it. I'd take conference. Chance to
Listen,
win a trophy.
it's a horrible one, isn't it? And like, man, let's be real. I feel sorry for Dan because Dan's praying that Arsenal, who he hates still, and I know he hates, by the way, to win the league over Liverpool and Man City. That's how bad it's got for like Man United. So I get it. It's hard. It's horrible, right? If you're in that situation.
I'll tell you who's to blame for all this. It's this prick next to me, fucking Billy, beating you. if he'd have just stuck to the system, we wouldn't have to worry about this. But no, he has to come with his chest out.
I got to say as well, though, there are question marks about whether or not Arteta made the right decision at the Etihad to park the bus. If you would have gone
let's
for
not
it.
go here again.
No, we have to go here, Dan. We have to.
I know Man City are upset, and I'm sorry we disappointed you. We didn't lose to you like you wanted to.
No.
I'm really
Don't do
sorry
that.
about
No,
it.
don't do that.
Well,
You
I
had
will
an
look back at
opportunity.
Fulham and
No,
West
wait a
Ham,
sec.
not at the
No,
Etihad.
because he's not letting me speak because he knows that I've got a valid point.
Oh, go on then. You land. Go on.
You had a chance that day to come at us and basically eliminate us from the Premier League. That was the chance that you had. Yeah. Now, I didn't say necessarily it was the wrong thing to do. I said you'll find out because if you win the rest of the games, it'll be the right decision. But if you don't, you'll look back and say maybe it wasn't the right decision. And ultimately, you didn't come to City to win. You came to draw. Now, if you would have come and tried to win, maybe you would have lost, or maybe that would have been in the L's, yeah? But if you beat us, and we weren't playing great at the time, we wouldn't have gone to win the league. You probably would have gone on to win it.
The reason I disagree, I'll put the comment up. That Villa.
Sorry,
The other game, Fulham. The other game, West Ham. The Etihad, the draw. You know we haven't lost to the top 6 this season, Arsenal. So I'm not coming in any of those top 6 games. I'm not worried. Maybe the Chelsea.
We're top 4.
Yeah, all this we haven't lost.
Or the top 6 or whatever they call it there. Okay.
So
big
what does that
six.
matter then? It's a
The
meaningless
Sky
thing
Six.
you've just said.
Because we've lost to,
Chelsea
because
is
we
shit.
lost to bloody West Ham and Fulham, and that's what I'm looking at. Those 2 games there, Christmas time was it? New Year? They're the ones I look back at. I don't look at the Etihad one or Anfield and go.
But the difference is
"Oh,
you
we
didn't
drew
try
it,
and
we
win at
threw
City,
it
did you?
away."
You didn't try and win.
Yeah,
That's the thing. You didn't try.
yeah. It's not saying that.
Man City tried.
If they try and
Did we
win,
try?
if
Fucking
they
tried
try,
the whole
if they try and win and lose,
Didn't try very well.
then they're not in this situation, are they? Here with
They need to
3
try
games
harder,
to go
Robbie.
in the
Well,
title
no,
race.
Man City. Okay, Man City have 2 more points. Arsenal have 1 less point, right? In the grand scheme of things. But the point is, when you went into that game, Potts, you'd already lost against Fulham. You'd already lost against West Ham, right? Those things had already happened. So it was in your hands to change destiny. You had a chance to change your own destiny. You had a chance to believe in yourselves, to believe that you could go toe-to-toe with the likes of Man City. And you didn't believe in yourselves. You didn't believe
So
you
when
could
we
win.
left that Etihad Stadium, what did we need to do after that game?
Win every game for the rest of the season.
Right, stop there. Win every game to the end of the season. We didn't do that. So I don't look at the City game. I look at the bloody Villa at home game.
Right,
No,
but
but
the
you
point
gotta look at
is,
all of them, Potts.
you put yourself in that position because you didn't win the City game because you didn't try and win it. Had you have beaten us, you probably did have some insurance, and you probably could have dropped some points along the way.
Yeah,
But you
what
didn't
would
do
it-
that. You put yourself in a high stress scenario of needing to win every game for the rest of the season because you didn't try and win the football match. And I said at the time, we will find out whether it was the correct decision if you win the league or not. If you win the league, then it'll be a great decision. Everyone will be like, wow, he got that point and they won
So
their game. But
you will actually think, if we don't win the league, you'll think it's because it didn't beat City at home.
No. So you're doing this again, bro. I'm not saying it's because you didn't. I'm just saying at the time, like Lawler said, you had it in your hands to come to City and beat us. We weren't playing well. And you didn't. You come and took the point.
We took the point, and then we then had to win all our games. We completely messed up at Villa.
Which is a stressful situation. Even I don't want to be in that situation. My team's done it bare times. I don't want to be in a situation
league, bro.
where we have to
We're
win.
trying to win the
But-
league.
but-
I think it's going to be a breeze. It's always a stressful situation to win the bloody league, man. You
But
don't
then
go there,
what-
right,
what-
this is it now. That drawing end. Now that we beat a Man City, walk in the park.
But then why
Come
not
on,
go
man.
for it? If you know that a point.
You know we could have won the game, don't you? We could have won that
Yes.
Man City game.
No, but
this
this
is
is
right,
right.
win it.
Do not try and shoot at the goal, please, because we don't want to win the game. Like, let's be real. Trossard crosses that ball to Martinelli. It could be in. Jesus has a shot earlier. It could have been in.
Facts. You're making it sound like they went there to play for the draw.
Exactly.
They had chances.
They didn't try and play for the draw. They went there to must not lose. They went there and said must not lose. They didn't try and beat us, did they? They didn't go out there and say we're going to beat City.
Play on the front foot.
So,
LB, can I ask a question? What suddenly changed? Because you said they'd done the right thing.
Yeah.
No. I said I understood why they did it, but I said ultimately we will judge it at the end of the season if they go on and win the league. They put themselves in a high pressure situation of needing to win every game, and then you know they knew they had Villa, they knew they started to play Spurs, they knew they started to play United. Listen, I'm not saying like that's the reason you lost the league. I'm just saying you had it in your hands that day to kill City off, in my opinion, and you decided to give us a lifeline. That's all I'm saying.
I thought there was way too many games left. Personally,
and by the way, this guy in the chat saying I'm salty, bro. If my team goes and win the league, how am I salty, bro? I'm just giving my opinion of Arsenal could have killed City off in this title race, and they give us a lifeline. Now, Arsenal fans will say, "Yeah, but we got a point and we made it in our hands." Great, but you didn't kill us off.
Listen, we went there and people are saying Moyes ball and all that and did that. The Etihad. Well, Man City couldn't score against us, and I know they're upset about it. I know they're peeved. I get it, but
I'm not peeved at all.
I don't think that's the way.
Going to win the 4th title in a row. I'm not peeved. I'm just saying it from a genuine. But you're not prepared to hear the argument.
Yeah, no, I've heard it. I just disagree with it.
No, but I don't think you get it, Potts. I don't think you get it because. If you're saying,
but you're making it out like it was so easy to beat Man City.
No, I'm not saying it was easy. Good side, man. You didn't go for it, Potts. It's not saying it's easy, but imagine you say, do you know what? Let's play our football. Let's play the way we play. Let's play out our game.
Like we did last year. Lost 4-1.
Like you did in the Community Shield. You beat us in the Community Shield. You beat us at home and
on penalties.
You beat us. So you beat us twice. You beat us twice this season.
On penalties in extra time, we beat you.
You beat us twice. You beat us twice this season.
Yeah, you said that after the draw, you needed to win every game to win the league.
So is this what we've got to expect now every time you come to the Etihad? Are you just going to park the bus? Liverpool never did that.
Listen, I don't think that we are in a position at the moment. This is just my opinion to go head to head at the Etihad with Man City and be guaranteed to win. And I think we've looked at that game.
There's no guarantees in football. You can't
but they could have gone there and got absolutely spanked, and then they're out the race completely.
I don't understand that we're still talking about this game that happened 4 weeks ago as the reason why Arsenal are probably not going to win the league.
We're not saying that's the reason. They're not saying that's the reason. We're saying that you had the opportunity that day to say this is our fucking league and we're taking it, and you didn't.
There'll be many reasons. That's
a fact. It will be one. Will it be one of the reasons? So it won't be Anfield where we drew. It won't be Stamford Bridge where we drew. It won't be West Ham that we lost. It won't be Fulham that we lost.
There's a load of reasons. There's not just one reason.
There's no game they had to win.
Is there ever one reason why someone don't win a league?
Never one reason, bro.
Exactly. So what? I don't get the argument then.
You're
making out like
you're just completely dismissing the argument, and the argument is a valid argument that you're just completely dismissing.
I'm just disagreeing with it. I don't get how that is how is that? I will not. I don't know any Arsenal fan that will look back at that game and go, "It's that bloody game." If we only
would say they lost the league at City.
It's not looking back at that's the game. We're saying at the time, Potts, Arsenal, West Ham was already behind you, yeah. Fulham was already. Those games are already done. You're in this moment now where you go, do you know what? If we go to Man City now and we win. That's huge. That's a massive shift.
I'm not disagreeing that that would have been.
It goes without saying.
We can just try and get a point.
They go there. They go there and get slapped up, and then we're not in this situation.
It is lawless. If they don't lose against fucking Villa, sorry, babe. If they don't lose against Villa, we're not having this conversation. Yes, but they're top of the league still. Because it's redundant.
Because they put themselves in a situation where they had to win all of their games, which is unrealistic. Is that
not the same thing as City?
I think Man City should have done much better than drawing a Chelsea. Will they look back at that game? Or will they go, I don't get it. There's so many other scenarios.
No, but it's talking about the intent. Man City didn't come into the Arsenal game with the intent to
Man City should have beaten Wolves and Chelsea. They should be 5 points clear,
but we tried. But we tried to win those games. You didn't try to beat City. That's the point that we're making. That's it.
You went there for a point, not a win. You went there for a point.
that might be the one that we look back at. That's what you're getting at.
I would say it's one of the reasons. It's one of the reasons that you won't win the league.
Maybe I'm on my own. I mean, Dan's shaking his head, thinking it's a load of rubbish as well.
I'm with you, Potts. I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm with you because I remember the conversations LB was having after that game, saying we've ruined it. I remember those conversations. So because now you're in the driver's seat, it's completely flipped. I remember the conversations you had.
Bro, it's one of the reasons. So can I just ask you a question then? Dan, are you going to go to Anfield and sit in from now on and just be like, yeah, we're just going to defend and just take a point? You've got to try and win games, man.
It's part of the evolution, though, LB, is that like, I understand what you're saying, LB. I get your point.
Correct.
It's part of the evolution. Because I remember Man City, when you won the league for the first time, you came to St. James's Park and we absolutely pummeled you. We should have won that game. And you ended up winning 2-0 because you sat in, and Yaya Toure went and won the game for you single-handedly. And it was part of that evolution. Once you've won that league, by doing that, I think if Arsenal win the league this season, right, next season, they'll probably go to the Etihad with confidence and go, you know what, we can attack you because we've won the league, we've done it, it's their plain to see. They'll come to you guys with confidence. But at this moment in time, if for them, because it's been so long, it's been 20 years, they're just trying to get over the line. They're trying to get over the line. So they saw that at the time as a point being a good point. And I understand why. But I understand why you're saying it. Like they should have gone and tried to win it because you're coming from a place of confidence. You guys are looking to do the 4P. You guys have been there and done that. So Man City will go and attack teams at the Etihad. We'll go attack teams at Anfield. We'll go attack teams at the Emirates and wherever.
But Liverpool didn't do that when they was challenging, though. After they hadn't won the league in 30 years, they weren't going to teams and parking the bus. So why? What's the
Man City have been poor against Arsenal this season, in my opinion. Home and away. So I think we'll walk away from that and go, do you know what? Best team, just done a treble. I ain't looking at those two fixtures, man. I'm looking at the one at home thinking, wow, lucky deflection, but they did nothing. Haaland didn't get a touch. And then at the away end, I think Ake had a header, and that was about it. So I think we played well in those two games. I don't think we played well against West Ham, Fulham, or Villa. So I'm going to look at the ones we didn't play well in, man. That's where I'm at. But
okay,
listen,
yeah,
we'll move.
Just me and you, bro.
Yeah, I know.
Two teams that actually win trophies, unlike Arsenal.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, here we go. Another dig.
The trophy dodgers, Let
me come to a joint question with these three, man. Dan, Billy, and Pete, before we come to a close, right? Because Liverpool, Shea Merrill's gone now, man. Liverpool are going to be a little bit up in there, right? We don't know what we're going to get. Let me ask this question to the panel.
Here we go.
Billy, are Villa in the best position right now to take over from Liverpool if they were to drop? Or could it be a Newcastle if they get the right players? Or could it be a West Ham or a Man United or a Chelsea if it goes right in the summer? I'm just thinking, if Liverpool were to drop, which one of you boys going to pounce up with me and LB, man? That's what I want to know.
He's obviously going to say it's Bill. It's obviously going to say it's Villa. This guy is obviously...
Let me answer the question. Let me answer the question.
Say what you're going to say.
Let me answer the question.
Just don't do the political thing. Just say it how it is.
Don't go around the houses. Don't go around the houses, Billy. No Hibs, no Lille.
Yeah, none of this political bollocks.
It's a very hard question to answer because
political bollocks.
No, but because no, it's a very hard question to answer because this is Villa's first season, possibly in the Champions League next season. I don't know how we're going to be able to adapt to Champions League. Obviously, the golfing clash between teams midweek is going to be on a massive, much higher scale than what it has been this season. I think we're going to have investment in the summer to obviously help that and to build a better squad. And with players coming back from injury, etc., I think we're going to have a decent squad to attack it. But I don't know how we're going to be able to cope
players out injured.
We've got a lot of players out injured.
I thought that Villa didn't say anything about players being out injured, so just surprising that you brought that up.
Emery doesn't.
Oh, right, okay.
But Billy does. Billy does a lot.
Billy, you'll be fine.
Look, can I finish? Can I finish my
Go on,
answer?
sorry, Billy. Sorry.
Just give us
I think once we get players back from injury and we've got a good squad, I think we've got a good squad to attack the Champions League. But it remains to be seen how we will be able to cope with playing the league and playing the Champions League. Obviously, Newcastle have struggled this season, but they've also had a ridiculous amount of injuries this season. And having that level of quality in the Champions League to come up against, the group of death it was labelled, wasn't it? It has obviously taken its toll on them. I think Villa at the minute as a club, we are there and we are ready to kick the door down next season to be a part of the top six year on year.
Why'd you bother asking him questions, Potts? Why'd you bother asking him? Because you don't get an answer.
I don't think next season we're gonna be able to go, oh, Liverpool have shit it. Oh, we're the third best team in the league. I don't think that's going to happen.
Your team's best placed out of all of us to do that.
I think it is, Billy. I think it is. You've got the best manager after Pep.
Who do you think it is then, Billy?
I don't know. I don't know who I think it is, to be perfectly honest with you.
Ask him in February. That's when you get the numbers, right?
You don't know who it is because it's you.
Look in the mirror, Billy.
I don't know who it is because Newcastle are going to come back fighting next season as well. Who's to say they're not going to be Newcastle?
You are.
I do think it's between Newcastle and Villa, and on the balance of things,
not Man United's out of it, yeah.
Not Spurs,
yeah.
Not Man United, Chelsea.
I don't think so. No.
Are you saying fuck Man United?
I'm happy you said that. I'm happy. That's all I wanted to hear. I'm so happy you've said that. Brilliant. Thank you. Brilliant.
I reckon Villa.
Because if we come back next season and we finish, if we come back next season and we finish above you, I don't want none of this. Oh, well, I at the time thought it might, but we do have this in Champions League. I want the full chest, Billy, if this happens.
Yeah. Well, I think Villa will.
Fair enough.
I think Villa will be like. I've always bigged up Newcastle. I don't want to big up Newcastle again because Lourdes will tell me I'm sucking them off again. But I think Newcastle could have a good summer.
Oh, what? After you take Isak, yeah?
Fuck off.
Yeah.
Well, apparently he's not going, mate.
Havertz.
Bruno in it. Bruno's going apparently.
Is that it? You've been twerking for
anywhere either. Bruno's staying.
Listen, I'm twerking for Isak and Bruno. I'd take them both.
You said they'd go. You said they'd join us.
You can't afford Bruno.
Is that true, Potts?
Anyway, it's going to Man City.
Can you afford him?
It was said tonight. Football finance expert Kieran Maguire was on Loaded Mag NUFC. Even mentioned it himself. Arsenal cannot afford.
We will not get Isak because I think Isak will stay at Newcastle.
He's coming United, lads. He's coming to United. He's coming with Dan Ashworth, lads.
Well, Dan, he got no chance. Dan Ashworth left because Bruno said.
Pete, wait, listen. I'll tell you what. This will be a nice little segue into coming off the back of what Billy said. Then Newcastle being mentioned. Can they do it without Bruno? Because he's going to go, isn't he?
They won't need to. He's staying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's staying.
You sound very.
You don't look
well confident there. Who have you been speaking to?
Well, because you
sound like you're convincing yourself there, mate.
You asked me at the end of June, and he's got another shirt on. Then you might see some tears. But up until then,
Pete, what's this about Isak getting a 20% pay cut?
It was written into not just his, a lot of other players' contracts when we got Champions League football, that if we didn't, then their wages would drop. So it's written to a lot of players' contracts, to be fair, that are fighting at the top end of the league. It's no big news, which is why I said to you boys the other week is why he's going to get a new contract in the summer. So he's then reflected to be paid Bruno's wages, because Bruno is the highest paid player at the club. He will go alongside him now, and rightly so, because he's that good. He has to, and so that's why I'll get a new contract. But yeah, both of them will stay. Look, I'm not gonna jump around the houses like
don't do a Billy, please. Just give us
look, Newcastle United.
I give context behind my answers.
Is that what you call it? I just call it a lot of waffle and fence sitting.
Everybody who's watching this, right? This isn't the Billy we have in our chat, okay? So this Billy, this nice humble Billy.
There's nothing I say on the chat that I wouldn't say on here.
He is a what?
There's nothing I say on the chat that I wouldn't say here. What are you on
Billy,
about?
when we ask you a question on the chat, you fire back. It's like bang, bang, bang. Here, it takes you 27 minutes to get it out.
But I get to the answer.
Fucking hell! After we press and push you, eventually you get there. Like you sit there.
I'll always give you an answer to a question. Ask me anything.
Who's the best English defender?
I was going to say, who's
Konza.
Honestly,
It's a
Billy's
fact.
the sort of person you ask him the time, he tells you how to watch his, mate. That's Billy. All over. Honestly.
Well, listen, I think Newcastle, without injuries of this season, I think they could be up there. I think Villa will be up there.
Potts, we would. I'm more and more convinced of it, that without those crazy amount of injuries, would have been up there fighting.
Because you've got players
Look
attacking
at where you are now as well, Pete. Man.
Exactly.
With Villa, we would have been up there in that conversation this season. I'm confident. I'm more than confident to say that. And for me, like, I genuinely believe that we will be up there in that conversation next season. I genuinely.
I'm going to put you both in my top 4 next year.
Whoa! Liverpool out of it.
I'm going to say Liverpool drop out. I'm going to put Aston Villa, Arsenal, and Newcastle.
Wow.
Let's not forget, when Liverpool dropped off last season, we were the ones to finish 4th. We kept them out of the top 4.
Wow.
So for me, I'd be confident to say that we could go and do it again. If they had a similar drop off, I'd be confident to say we could get more points in Liverpool next season. But equally, and I'm not going to do what Billy did, is put Man United out of it. Man United are Moments FC. Regardless of how shit they are in October, November, they will always pull enough points to get back to where they need to be.
Is
So you
Ashworth
can't rule-
going to do bits for
rule
them?
them out.
Ashworth's going to get him in. Ashworth's going to get him up there in the race.
Well, if you still
After he beats you in court for the arbitration, yeah, is that it?
I'm going there. I'm going there as a character
Watertight,
witness, Pete. I'm there as a character
Watertight.
witness for him.
That contract is watertight. I didn't even realize it actually has. Ashworth actually has a 20 million release clause in his contract. I didn't even know that until recently. It's watertight. Pay
Have
off.
you seen enough of Harry Maguire's emergence to think that they might get in the top 4 next year?
Well, apparently the
Is that
whole
what it
squad
is?
failed.
Do
Did
you
not
know
see
what?
that?
Do you know what, Potts?
Well, the
I've
whole
been
squad-
backing you this whole fucking night. You can go suck my left nut now for that. You can suck my left nut. No, Daniel, you can. You can. You can suck my left nut right now. You can. I tell you what.
What he does, Dan.
I tell you what. Honestly, do you know what? I hope now that City smash it now, because I've been nothing but cordial to you, and for you to do me like that,
He's coming.
for you to do me like that, you can get stuff. I would
It's
take,
not even
I would
said that
take
to
a
me,
squad. I would take a squad of Harry Maguire's mentality-wise over any of the bums in our team at the moment. I fucking would.
I actually agree with that, to be fair. But yeah, man, I just think it's an interesting conversation. Liverpool, I mean, LB's put them out of the top 4. That's it's not wild, but it's bold. Because
I think Aston Villa and Newcastle on the day, all players fit, have better teams than Liverpool. Liverpool have better individual players, maybe, but I think they have better teams.
Wow.
Liverpool's midfield, Aston Villa's midfield is mad. McGinn, Douglas Luiz, who's your
Kamara,
Tillmans.
Tielemans,
Yeah, they're
Ramsey.
They've got better
Jacob
strikers than
Ramsey,
Liverpool.
Morgan Rogers.
They got options off the bench. I mean, they brought Diaby off the bench the other day. I think honestly, people look at Liverpool, and you need to realise if you take Salah out of that team, who could leave, they're a very average team. Diaz won't get in. A lot of you guys won't want Diaz. A lot of you want Nunes. A lot of you want Gakpo. Yeah, Jota's always injured. Salah's aging. The midfield isn't particularly good. Yeah, everyone just thinks like Liverpool are this mad team. I don't think it's a crazy statement at all. If you actually deep it and look at the individual players, yeah, and actually go through it, so who do I want out of that Liverpool team? Yeah, I'd take about 4.
LB, let's not forget Bruno Joelinton and Sandro Tonali next season. They absolutely bullied Liverpool's midfield at St. James's Park, and it was only when we took Tonali off that we went to shit. Like, I'd be confident going with our midfield up against theirs next season. 100%.
Of course you would. You got a better striker than them.
Yeah,
I think Gordon's better than Diaz.
Both of them. Like Callum Wilson, when fit, Callum Wilson's he's a bagsman. He scores goals.
People laugh at it, but I know Bob.
I'll be
I'm
Barnes
telling
as
you,
well,
Aston Villa and Newcastle have a better team than Liverpool. Does Liverpool have better individual players in certain positions? But and then players are like
I don't
world
even
class.
think it's a wild. I don't even think it's a wild state. I don't even think it's a wild take. I think Klopp has a lot to do with where Liverpool have been as well this season. I say that, and he's not going to be there. So maybe it's not a wild take. That's why I brought it up as a question, man. What about West Ham, Lawless? Are they going to be okay for a top 4 fight next season with Ruben Amorim if he goes there?
New manager, baby. We're back. We're going to be back. I'm telling you. West Ham.
I'm going to miss you next season, Lawless.
Oh, Billy. Billy. You just trigger me. You just trigger me all the time.
He
God.
has that about him.
I can't do this anymore.
Oh,
Are you going to miss us, Lawless?
Nah, well, listen. I may not be gone too long. You never know. You never know how we'll start the season.
Are you accepting you're not going to get Europe now?
There's no. We have to win to have a chance. I think we have to win our last 3 games, which includes Man City away. So, yeah, that's not happening. If we get 6 points in our next 2, Luton and Chelsea, that brings us to 55 points, and then
Chelsea
which
home or away?
isn't what
Chelsea home or away?
It's at the bridge, as
away.
Dom likes to say.
Wow.
the bridge. Oh, the bridge.
Yeah, that could be. Yeah, that could be it.
But this is the thing, like Newcastle are on 53 points. They only need 2 points. So it's effectively, it's done. We're not in Europe next season.
So you're not going to get 7th. Oh, sorry, man.
You know what's kind of crazy though, Lawless? How you've been saying that you're not bothered if Paqueta leaves, and then Fabrizio released a statement saying, "What he might not be leaving because what did he say? What did Fabrizio say?
I didn't see it.
I seen your tweet. Your tweet said, "I'm not even bothered now if Paqueta goes City," and then he come out and said like Paqueta said, "Yeah, the City thing was in the past, and he's really happy at West Ham." And then someone else said these gambling charges are probably not even going to be done by the transfer window. So it looks like you're going to keep Paqueta for next year anyway. You said you're not even asked if he leaves.
No, the thing is that I'm not.
Everyone did the same with Salah. Everyone did the same with Salah today.
What, the same as Salah?
Yeah, everyone did the same with Salah. Everyone put a tweet out saying, "Yeah, it's time to cash in on Salah," and then literally like 10 minutes later, it came out Salah could be staying with Liverpool.
Yeah. No, but that's the thing. I would still, yeah, I'd be happy to cash in because I think we can spend that money better. But I would still be interested to see what a new manager can do with Paqueta.
And who is the new manager? Who's this new guy? Who's going to be the new guy? Because it was Amorim, but that's
Fonseca is the leading candidate at the moment.
Who?
Fonseca, Paulo Fonseca.
Okay. Good manager.
Lopetegui.
Your manager? What do you mean your manager?
I say good manager.
Good manager.
Oh, I thought you said our manager. It's the accent. Yeah. No, not Lopetegui. Lopetegui apparently was going to go for the AC Milan job. Now he wants the West Ham job again. And why? Why is this guy? Get this guy's name away from my club. Like, why is he so tired? Why is this Lopetegui business? Get him out of it, man. I'd take Fonseca. Like, Amorim looks like a clown. He looks like an absolute fucking
So
idiot.
this Fonseca guy, like, what research have you done into him then, bro? What can you tell us
We've been
about
linked to him for years. He's the guy that slapped you up in the Champions League, didn't he?
Gary O'Neill.
I'm asking for the research, bro. What's the research? Gary O'Neill's actually not a bad shout, man. But he's not got a nice name, so they won't take him.
Fonseca's a good manager.
Former West Ham player.
We interviewed him before we had Eddie Howe. We interviewed him, Emery, and Eddie Howe. They were the 3 that got to the final.
I'd take O'Neill over Fonseca. I'll tell you that now.
I wouldn't.
I don't know, man. Fonseca's
philosophy is all about possession based.
I've been impressed with O'Neill, man. I can't lie.
Get your footballers
slammed it.
Honestly, Fonseca will get your footballers Lawless. He'll get them playing football. So you've got the one thing you've got, particularly at the top end of the pitch, you've got footballers like with the likes of Kudus, Paqueta, Bowen. Like you add a striker to that. Probably move Antonio on, and then you've got the likes of Alvarez who can play football. He's defensive minded. Like he'll get those players properly playing football. He's very much possession based, attacking style football.
I'll shout another name. Right, Thiago Motta. Would you take him?
Yeah, doing well apparently.
Yeah, doing very
Apparently, he is like people are talking about him massively. Like at Bologna, his style of football is crazy, and people are like, "Where the hell has this come from?" And it's all about him. And he's come from the mold of some of the others that are around. He played with some of the likes of the Xabi Alonso era and under Pep Guardiola and with him and stuff like that. So
problem is
maybe.
no one's watched Bologna. How many people on this chat panel have watched Bologna this year?
No one's watched him, but they've
That's what I'm
obviously
saying, man.
been spoken
But like
about.
we all seen Gary O'Neill. This is why Gary O'Neill like he's getting underrated, man. What he's
I
done at
agree
Wolves
with you,
this year
LB.
is a madness.
I need a break.
I don't like him myself,
man. Just
Oh, you don't like
Is
it?
that because he's
I
Wolves?
don't like him. No. I just don't like him. I think the football that he's got playing. Fair enough.
What did he ever do
He's
to you?
done a good job.
I know, I was just thinking that.
He just
Managed Wolves.
he's-
That's what you did.
No, because I don't care about Wolves genuinely. It's that he just comes out and moans every week when they lose. There's always someone else that's at fault for the loss. It's never his fault.
Doesn't every manager
I
do
don't
that,
like
though?
that. Not Unai Emery.
Oh, fucking
Fine
Unai
manager.
Emery again, man.
Mm.
That's because he's too busy fucking saying hello to everyone to fucking care about doing that.
Respectful.
Good
He's
evening.
a respectful man.
He is
He's
a
a
polite
respectful
man.
man.
He's a polite man.
Yeah.
Good evening.
Just give me for a second. If Moyes stays, I think you might not see me at all next season.
You're gonna go on loan
He
somewhere
ain't
else.
staying, Lawless. He ain't
Yeah.
Going
staying,
alone.
mate,
Come
is he?
to City, bro.
So someone like this fan
Wolves.
come up to us right after the game, after Liverpool game, and he goes, "Oh, I spoke to Calvin Phillips after the game." And I said, "Oh, what's happening? Like, you gonna be playing again?" He's like, "No." And apparently, he said Moyes is staying for another 2 years. He told us that, and we was like, "What?" Like, and listen, this is some random bloke. So take that for massive. This is the huge. I was like, "Nah, it's got to be bollocks." There's no way. There's no way that's true. But it's in the back of my mind. Like, it's there. It's in there, and I can't shake it. What this random half-drunk fan said to me after the game. So I'm waiting to
It
see.
would be funny though, wouldn't it?
I'd
all
love it.
clear.
I'd love it. I think we'll get you back into Europe, win you another trophy. Class.
Do you know what would be the worst fucking? Could you
Get that
imagine?
statue
Yeah,
done.
we lose to Chelsea. We get a point against Leicester. Everything's not in the air, and we beat Man City, hand Arsenal the league, and
Leicester?
Moyes fucking gets a new deal. Fucking hell, you'll
That's
never
what we
see
want,
me
man.
again.
Just say
You'll
Leicester.
never see me
Leicester?
again.
I think it is Luton.
Leicester.
Whatever it
What
was.
did I say? Luton.
Luton, you meant.
Yeah, fuck it. I'm
Yeah.
rattled now. I'm
Yeah,
rattling
yeah,
myself.
Yeah, if
We
West
played
Ham or
3
Spurs
London
do
clubs.
beat
We
Man
played-
City, wow.
We played 3 London clubs in our last 4 games, man. So like, I'm hoping that like, yeah, I mean, they all just like don't like Arsenal, and therefore just hand us with like, what's the Arsenal Fulham rivalry like?
No, they love us, mate.
They love you. So they
No, they don't love us. There's none there. Really. Do you know what? I spoke to Media the other day, and he said, "You know what? I'd rather Arsenal win it and bring the trophy to London than let Man City win it." That was just the
what
media.
does that mean?
Bring the
it to
trophy to
London?
London. What
Not
does
my
that
We're
word.
come
mean,
and
man?
share it with all of us.
Not
Do
my
we get
word.
to have it?
He'd
on
rather it come to
Tuesdays?
London. He said, "He'd rather it come to
What
London."
does that mean? Is
What
it going to
does
be
that
like?
mean?
And then you can go to London Eye and look at it and that. Like,
In other
Yeah,
words,
yeah,
in other
what's that
words,
mean?
he wants Arsenal, not Man City. Let's be real.
bring it to London.
I do love Emilio. He's brilliant.
Fulham is
Emilio's
such a
cool.
like. It's just such pointless club, isn't they? No one has a rivalry with Fulham. Do they?
Whoa! Respect, man. Respect them. They respect West Ham. They beat them
Fulham,
5-0.
Yeah.
have done some great
Was-
things for Villa.
Was Fulham the club where Don Robbie told Ty off? Do you remember that clip where there was a clip going around where Don Robbie and Ty was sat next to each other on the couch, and Ty was going in at this club, and then like Don Robbie told him off and said, "Now respect Fulham." I'm sure it was Fulham.
Yeah, I
No,
think it
but he
was.
does
Fulham,
it to
you
a
know.
lot of fans.
So Fulham fans, yeah, listen, Ty hates your club, man. You know what I mean?
Oh,
so
mate.
But
It's
they don't have any rivalries. Like,
Wasn't it Brighton where he said he wanted to get relegated?
Nah, that's
Yeah,
another
that
club.
was
That was a
Neil
separate one.
Mopay. That was Neil Mopay. Yeah, Neil
He has a
Mopay. I
separate-
hope you get relegated.
Yeah, that was a separate
Bless
one.
you.
yeah.
But let's be real. Ty hates every club, man, apart from Arsenal. So you're not gonna, you're not gonna get any love from
Although,
Ty.
unless Arsenal beat him, then he's cool with you. He loves you. He loves your team. When Arsenal beat you, he's all like, "Oh, good luck for the season." Like when you beat him, it's a different ball game.
That's what Gooners are like, man. Listen, we're gonna wrap up unless anyone else has any other business or any pressing concerns they want to mention. Do you know what I have
we
been?
didn't mention this guy's football
Go on.
club, did we, today?
Why do we need to, LB? Why do we
Because you
need
drew
to?
against the team that's 19th.
Fucking big surprise, United. Fuck up again.
Go on, an LB. Go on,
Last
LB.
week show and the week before that show and the week before that.
He's already triggered LB. Go on.
I didn't watch it. Was it bad? Was it bad?
Burnley were the better team. Burnley
terrible.
played some actually mad. Actually, that's the first time I've seen Burnley like for a long time.
Company,
Burnley was
man.
mint. Yeah, they actually. You know what's mad about them is,
wow.
I remember the first game of the season because we played Burnley away, and that game I said they're mint, but they're going to struggle because they don't have a striker, and it's proved in the table, man. Like they actually play some mad football.
Who was their lad up top against us? Was it Foster?
Just not good enough, man. They play mad football. Company play some sick football. Like pretty humiliating. How Ten Hag's been there 2 years, and Burnley, are playing better football than Man United, and you've got United fans begging for penalties against Burnley. It's the reason why they didn't win.
It's bullshit. I'm sorry, I disagree. What you're saying it like this is in isolation, mate. I watched this against Sheffield United, who had to come from behind twice against fucking Sheffield United, who have just been relegated. So it's not a surprise. I don't know why people are surprised. And I agree with you. I saw United fans screaming for a penalty at the end. Just do me a favour. Just honestly, batten down the hatches, get through this season, and then we just reassess again. I'm done giving them time to on this channel to moan and shout and scream. I don't need to anymore.
Oh, by the way, that Onana is still absolutely shite, you know. I just put that out there. It's another 50 million spent on a terrible goal.
50 million down the drain.
Yeah, 50 million down the drain. Honestly, he's crap, man.
No,
You know what's funny, Potsy, yeah? Is last week you was telling me how you wanted to get rid of Ryan. I was like, what are you smoking? And then he goes and does that in the derby and almost cost you the game.
I know, man. I know. Crazy, man. Listen, I was like really annoyed with Raya when I was talking about it at Bayern Munich, and then since then I'm like, do you know what? He'll probably go out pull a worldies now that I've said that, and he did that, and I thought, oh no, please don't prove me right, please prove me wrong. Like I'm still not massively 100% set on the guy, and he's like got the Golden Glove, and he's been fairly good in people's eyes. I don't know. I don't see an elite goalkeeper there, but. Listen, he was actually, do you know what? After that mistake, he actually had a good game and he had a really good, after that mistake, he was literally coming for everything and he was mad in goal. But I don't know, man. Onana's got a bit better, but I still don't rate him, man. I still don't think Onana's that guy that you look at and think, yeah, you're comfortable with him. I know I took the mick out of Maguire, but to be fair to him, he's actually been good, man. And mentally, he's the one that you look at.
The thing is, though, Potsy, you say Onana got better, which he did, but ultimately, whose fault is it that United got knocked out of the Champions League? Largely down to Onana. He cost them 2 points against Burnley. Who was the game that he passed the ball to last week?
Sheffield United.
I know they won the game, but that could have gone south. Like people say, yeah, he did get better, and he did 100%. He's out making some mad saves, but ultimately, like he still cost them a lot this year. So he needs. I think he'll obviously get another year. They're not going to just get rid of him straight away. But like, if he doesn't get better next year, they've got, it's the same with.
I was listening. I think I was listening to Saeed earlier. I think the show you do. I can't remember what he calls it now. LB, the one you go on every Monday.
Oh, Midday Live, yeah.
Midday Live. That's right. I was listening to that on the way home, and I kind of don't know who it was said it, but you look at every single Man United player, might have been Gunali, and you question whether they're going to stay there or not. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think we did this with you, Dan, not long ago, brother. And I was talking to you about who you'd keep. You're like, Kobe Manu, go on that show. I think you mentioned Dallo and a couple more. And then it was like an hour stop. And it was like, you've got about 5 players here. They've got to
it's not possible, though, Potts. This is the thing. And this is what I try and talk to people about. You know, you got people who on my channel, when I say about players, I'm like, no, they've all got to go. Well, yeah, in an ideal world, that happens. But it can't happen. It can't happen. It's just, I mean, like, it was just watching him at the weekend. He brings off Mainu and he brings off Højlund. And we leave Eriksen on. Eriksen, who is done. He's done and dusted. I kind of feel like at this point, we talked about Klopp not giving a shit. I don't think he gives a shit anymore. I think in his eyes, he thinks, do you know what? If I'm going, you got to pay me a lot of money. I ain't going anywhere. I just, honestly, I despair. We've got, like, you know, positives of Martinez coming back, Shaw coming back, and fucking Martial, big whoop. They're back training now, but I'm not filled with joy. I literally can't wait for this season to be over now. I cannot wait for it to be done. I cannot wait.
The funniest thing I've ever seen is that Ten Hag compared his team to Fergie's 05 team and said that wasn't an excited. Is he? I think he might right. I think he's actually asking for the sack, bro.
Exactly that. Exactly that. He is constantly coming out.
Where do you think you're finishing? Where do you think you're going to finish?
I've said it to Pete all the way through. Whoever wins out of us in the game between us and Pete finishes 6th.
That's going to be huge. Man United in the Conference League.
Because let's not forget, and I'm not trying to drag Pete into this, but Pete, they smashed Sheffield United. Before that, they lost. We've both been inconsistent. It's been like that for weeks now. There's Pete and us, we've allowed teams like Brighton, like Chelsea to try and get back into it. Obviously, they've not taken their chances completely either. So I still think it goes down to that game between us, Pete. I don't know what you think.
That's going to be fiery, man.
We got Burnley away on Saturday. Then we've got Brighton at home. Our last home game of the season before that. We win those 2.
Z-Gold, I get what. Sorry, Pete. I get what you're saying, Z-Gold. We can talk about injuries, but it's the fundamentals. The fundamentals of how we set up as a football team. It's just bizarre.
Newcastle as well, man. Injuries like this season, you can't. If Newcastle comes 6th, that's an unbelievable season for me in terms of what they were. Like they were dead and buried.
If we get European football, I'm golden.
I know they've been depleted a lot of the season, man. Like let's be real. I'm not even, like. I think that's crazy if they get 6th place from Newcastle. I thought they were literally going to be like struggling with bloody top half at one stage. You couldn't field a team.
We were 10th not long ago. But with to be fair, like Dan, you said we were inconsistent. We've gone on a run before that Palace game of like unbeaten in 4. I think we won 3 out of the 4 games. Then we've gone and beat Sheffield United. Like our form recently has been good. It's one of the best in the Premier League. So we are doing okay. But again, it's about who can stay fit. We're apparently getting Trippier back for the Brighton game, so not this weekend, just after. Joe Linton's going to be back soon. Pope will be back soon. Hopefully they're all back in time for the Old Trafford game, because that'll be a massive boost to get those players back in the squad coming to Old Trafford. But we've got 2 games to win first. Look, I'll take 6th or 7th. European football, I'm good.
And West Ham will be in the mud. There we go.
Well, I wouldn't say we're in the mud. If we finish 10th or below, we're in the mud.
To be fair, you could. You've not seen Bournemouth. Bournemouth are a point behind you, I think.
Yeah. I might have to look at Iraola, mate. I might have to look at Iraola. Look at him as a manager. But no.
To be fair, I was looking at the league and the games in hand. I think you could go back. You could be as low as 13th. You could end up as low as 13th.
If that happens, then tear up Moyes' license.
If you lose to Chelsea and Man City, you got Chelsea, Man City, and Luton. Is that it left, mate? If you lose to Chelsea and Man City, go out of that top half. I'll tell you what. Wow, that is
happen. Bournemouth for flying.
Potts, where did you predict West Ham to finish?
Let's have a look.
Laughed at.
Let's have a look at this for a long time.
You didn't get laughed at.
Let's have a look. I put them. Oh no, they're nowhere near. I put them 10th, and Lawless put them 7th. I mean, some of these predictions, by the way, are an absolute mess. I must say. Look, I love Villa.
Billy, let's talk Billy a minute.
Go on,
Billy. Where'd you put Villa, mate? Where did you put Villa? With the world-class manager Emery, with the world-class centre-back, where did you put Villa?
I put a 6th. I thought that would be a good season.
Me and LB and Pete are pretty much identical with our. LB and Pete are pretty much identical.
Yeah, I remember my thoughts behind it was I thought because Villa was in Europe, they might struggle. But obviously they've not. No one could have. The Newcastle thing probably would have been legit if they'd not got crucified with their injuries. Yeah, obviously top 3. Everyone had the same. Oh wait, some people had Newcastle top 3.
Yep, I did.
Yeah.
Oh dear.
Well,
I think they could have been.
Oh dear, Lawless, you were one of them.
What? Yeah, he's saying oh dear.
Oh. He goes, oh dear. Who put Newcastle 3rd? Oh, I did.
To be fair, the last game of the season, last season, we were fighting for we were there. So
Mate, look at that prediction table. It's just, isn't it mad to think that was what we were all like really confident we're going with? Well, not really confident. We were like, yeah, that sounds about right. Miles off, all of us. Absolutely miles
I
off.
don't think
Other
I
than the
was. I
top
think
two.
my one was, apart from Newcastle, I was quite close.
Yeah, the biggest one I got wrong.
You didn't have Villa in the top 7.
We all,
Yeah, 'cause
we all
fuck
put bloody
Villa.
Chelsea.
That's
All of
right,
us,
fuck
none of
you.
us are not even got a Chelsea panelist on here. And we're
Yeah,
all
but
like, yeah,
can't Chelsea still do quite well this year if they win like some?
They could do,
They've got
yeah.
bare
they
games
can.
in hand.
I
haven't
think they can
They've
get
got, like,
6.
Haven't they got
They've got
dicey
5
games
games.
though left? They've got really
Right.
bad games.
they've got Tottenham on Thursday. Then they've got West Ham. I think they've got another team as well. They've got a couple of other tough games as well. They've got a player. I can't remember who, but they've not got easy games.
Imagine if Chelsea somehow shit out 6 of them in the FA Cup. Like,
How
that's
can they
probably
win
one
the
of the
FA Cup?
maddest.
Yeah.
Well, they've got with the
Not
FA
gonna
Cup.
win the
Oh,
FA
yeah,
Cup.
They're not in the FA Cup.
Them out.
You
You
knocked them
knocked
out.
him out.
Yeah, so that's,
You literally knocked him out.
Been awake too long, LB.
Hey,
Listen,
sorry, LB, quick one. How did you get on with your fasting, mate?
oh, the fasting. Yeah, the fasting
Yeah.
was chilling, man. Yeah.
Did you
yeah,
do
the
it?
fast- yeah,
did it feel any different?
43 hours. 43 hours fasting I did. Yeah.
What?
I've done
man.
that. That's I've done that.
It's not. No, it wasn't difficult. So long as
That's
I've done,
because
I've done
Lawless
that.
believes on acai bowls. That's all I've ever seen this guy eat.
Yeah, no, it's
Great.
good, man. I recommend it. I recommend it to people. It's good. I think
You
you
feel
feel
it?
a lot better. Yeah, yeah.
What
yeah,
did you
feel
lose?
good,
What
man.
did you lose? Did you like lose a lot of weight with it or what?
Nah, I lost like 2.5 pound, whatever that is in your things.
That's quite a lot in 2 days. Jesus.
Yeah, but now you feel good, man. You feel refreshing. It's meant to be very beneficial, and yeah, it's good. It's good, man.
Wow, fair play, man. If anyone's doing it, then get in touch with LB. Don't get in touch with me because I won't be doing that. Listen, big up to everybody, man. Big up to Dan United. Do you know what, Dan? That plant behind you, it's been like you've had your hand up the whole time. Every time I've been looking over there, I think he's got a question here again. Oh no, it's the plant.
Quite suspicious how there's a light pointing right down on that plant, isn't there? Like, what's going
Man's
on
got to
there?
man's got to make his peas, yeah. Man's got to make his peas.
Okay.
I thought
Yeah.
Dan United was pretty chilled out today, I must say. But big up, man. Listen, big up to
Look at him, he's
Billy
got
as
his
well,
hat
man.
back to front. You know,
One
look at
word.
him.
Hey, mate, the reason I got the hat back to front is I need a haircut. Look at the state of that. Horrendous. The wife hates it.
come on,
She
man.
hates it. Honestly, she despises my
Do you
look
just
at the moment.
live to just like make your wife's life a living hell? Like, is that your?
I'll ask
perfect
her.
life?
Lawless has just asked if I live to make your life a living hell.
You don't take any notice of me.
Don't take any notice of her, apparently.
So I say yes then.
That is, yeah,
Everything.
that's a
My
polite
wife
way of
hates
saying
this,
it.
so I do it. She hates that, so I do this. Every time.
Tell you I don't like your beards. What do? You grow
Hey?
it.
Hang on. You what?
You take any notice. I say I don't like your beard. And what do? You grow it.
Yeah, you're right. I don't take any notice. This is my life. Jeez.
We're gonna get into a domestic. We're gonna cause a domestic here, man. Big up, man. Big up to Billy. Big up to Lawless. Make sure you go follow both these guys as well. Big up to LB. And big up to all of you in the chat that come over from It's LB. Make sure you go follow him. And likewise, big up to Pete. And make sure I say thank you to all of you guys for coming over from Loaded Mag. Make sure you go over there as well and subscribe. You're now on to 10K and above. So the next one for them is 15, I believe, Pete. So big up to yourself, mate. And well done for that milestone. We're going to see you next time. Take it easy. And as always, up the Arsenal. Latest, people.